Willkommen, konbanwa, allo, buongiorno, and welcome to High Rollers Dungeons and Dragons with me, Mark Sherlock Holmes, as your dungeon master. I've got these guys.
Okay.
My friends
Hello.
joining me. Hello.
Salut.
What was it? What? Salute. Yeah, I was trying to think of all the different greetings that I could think of, but I ran out very quickly. Hi. Yeah, very good.
Hi, that's a good one.
Ni hao.
International High Rollers. Yeah. Yeah.
Konnichiwa.
I did konbanwa, so I feel like I covered that side of things. Does the folks in Australia have like a kind of colloquial sort of greeting, like "Hello, mate"?
You can't say it though.
Good day.
I was about to say it, but it's a hard C, so.
That's
similar to Scotland,
that one.
really.
Yeah. No Welsh. There's no way I could have pronounced a Welsh introduction. There's just no way I could have done that. But welcome to internationally famous, world-renowned Dungeons and Dragons show High Rollers. Everyone's
Mr.
here.
Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, Mr. and Mrs. Worldwide High Rollers. We got Rhiannon. We got Tom. We got Katie. We got Trot. We got Kim. Everyone's here. We're pushing through. We got a couple of people a bit down in the weather, but we're going to push on through and play some D&D.
Down in the weather.
Down in the weather.
Just drowning under that
famous
weather.
phrase.
Yeah.
Down in the weather.
On the dumps.
Down,
Up in the dumps. I believe Chris Trott is doing Movember, which is why he's freshly shaven.
And it will remain freshly shaven for the whole month. Because it grows very slowly.
Whereas mine is just coming off the back of last week's Halloween costumed episode, which if you haven't seen on YouTube yet, make sure you go and check it out. Even if you're a podcast listener, it's definitely worth popping in onto YouTube and giving that one a quick look to see all of our costumes. And while you're there, why not subscribe? Why not subscribe to the
Why
YouTube
not?
channel as well?
Talking of subscribers, Kim.
Oh, God. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Kim's got it.
It happened.
We got it.
The plaque.
You can see it's so shiny. You can see VMix in it. But
Hey.
there we are. High Rollers D&D.
You did this.
100K
I know.
Subos.
Thank you.
I know for Kim and Trot, like you guys are probably like, I've got one of these. It's fine, but like, man, I'm like genuinely
so
really chuffed with
excited.
that. Yeah, I'm like, that's ours. We made that. That's us.
I don't have one of these. I have the cheap one that they gave out like however many years ago that's already broken. So this is quite nice.
nice. Fancier.
This is nice.
I could use it as a mirror.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody who subbed up to the YouTube channel and helped push us to the 100K. Very exciting times. Very exciting.
Onwards
times.
to
More
a
on that in a little bit.
million.
Yeah.
Onwards
One
to
of
a
the
million.
channels I'm
Onwards to a
part of
million.
will get one, right?
No.
Yeah.
It'll be High Rollers.
Anyway, we've got a couple of things to talk about, so I do want to get to them. First and foremost is our two sponsors for this week's episode. Chris Trott, tell us a little bit about the first one, D&D Beyond.
All right. Well, I've connected to the Elder Brain at D&D Beyond and unearthed some juicy information. What's going on there? I watched a dev talk. That's what happened. So you've heard of Critical Role, I assume, everybody. Well, the first
Just a little.
major adventure book set in the world of Exandria named Call of the Netherdeep is available for pre-order on D&D Beyond right now, which is brimming with 7 chapters of thrilling adventure, new creatures, magic items, you know the drill. There's even a poster map of Ank'Harel. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Mark? Ank'Harel. A new source book as well from the world of Magic the Gathering, Strixhaven, Curriculum of Chaos is also going up for pre-order. I'm sure I'll talk more about that soon when it actually comes a bit more into fruition. But there you go. That's coming up. Also, there are new autumnal November perks for D&D Beyond subscribers, which this month, awesome new backdrops for your character sheets this month. Subscribers, of course, will receive new perks every month, like the portrait sheet, character portraits from last month, all the spooky ones. Remember those? Some big updates are coming and have already come for the mobile app. You remember containers where you can have inventories within inventories? That's on the mobile app now. It's all working, which is lovely.
Wowee.
You also get the full campaign view on mobile app as well. But what's coming down the line, I hear you ask? What's coming up for dinner?
What's coming down the line?
I hear you crying about it. So, how does
What's coming down the line?
a total character sheet decor management is coming. So all those options where you can switch out your character sheet, backdrop, the theme, the portrait, that's all going to have a totally revamped interface, so you can do it all very nicely. That's cool.
That's
And
got
also,
me very excited.
the encounter builder, that's nice. Combat
I love
tracker, that's nice.
The best.
What if they merge together into one thing?
How
That's
could that
coming
be?
down the line. And
Wow.
they're going to have
Right.
some
There's so much down the line.
very important
Line
quality of
swapped.
life updates to that as well, but they are going to work in unison down the line, which is awesome.
It's
for
very awesome.
Mark.
The very genuinely, for players, D&D's character builder literally is the best tool in the world for making a D&D character. There is literally not a better tool than D&D Beyond for making a D&D character. For GMs, the combat tracker and the encounter builder are hands down the most useful fucking thing in the world. Like, I don't know if I could go back to doing it the old way anymore.
Well,
I'm
it's
so
going to
reliant
get
on
better. It's going to get better
it. It's
soon.
only going to get better.
They're getting put together.
Amazing.
Also, a
Well-
crap ton apparently of new digital dice are coming as well. Loads of
Nice.
new options.
Always exciting.
So there you go.
Always exciting. That's for D&D Beyond. Don't forget, if you click the link appearing in video chat or in the video description, or if you're on the podcast, I'm sure it's somewhere as well. Make sure you use the link it's our tracking link. It shows that you've come directly from High Rollers. That shows D&D Beyond that we're promoting their product and their content. It shows that you guys are engaged with it, and it helps us out as well. So if you're interested in D&D Beyond, please do use the link in chat or in the description below as well to support us. For our second sponsor, I know Chris Shot's got a little bit, but I can talk a little bit about it.
Please take it away.
Oh, I very much will. We are also sponsored. I'm quite excited about this because this is a book series that I know about. We are sponsored by Terciel and Eleanor, which is the brand new latest book in the Old Kingdom series by legendary fantasy author Garth Nix. This is amazing. It's the new book in the series. If you don't know the Old Kingdom series, it was in 1995, I think. Sabriel was first published. It's considered like one of the fantasy book series. This is a prequel to Sabriel, Terciel and Eleanor, and it tells the story of Sabriel's parents and the struggles in both the magical Old Kingdom and the non-magical country of, and forgive me, I'm going to mispronounce this because I read my books, I don't audible them, Ancelstier. I don't know how to pronounce it, but
right.
that's how I pronounce it in my
You
head.
got it. Nailed it.
Ancelstier. I recently read Sabriel not that long ago, and I really enjoyed it. So being able to dig in and learn more about the Old Kingdom and Sabriel's parents is really cool. I know fans of this series are super pumped to return to the world and learn more about these characters as well. And if you're completely new to the series, this is a really good starting point along with the original novel, because Eleanor knows nothing about the old world, and Terciel is only just learning about their role as the Abhorsen, which is a sort of good necromancer exorcist mage who protects the barriers between life and death and sends spirits to their final rest. If you love fantasy fiction and you want inspiration for your D&D campaign or characters, definitely recommend checking this out. Very cool magic system, unique takes on death and undead, necromancy and exorcism, with a great mix of magical and mundane worlds and characters. And that's, Terciel and then Garth Nix. Check the link and check it out as well. Sabriel is like a very well-known fantasy book. A lot of people, I can already see people in chat like, I love those books. So go and check it out and grab the latest one in the series. And thanks very much to Garth Nix and publishing teams for reaching out and getting sponsored and sponsoring High Rollers as well.
Thank you.
For me, like, that's like a genuinely cool thing that like fantasy authors are like promoting their books via D&D podcasts.
so
like,
cool.
I'm like, that's fucking rad.
Hell yeah.
Like, we've
Pretty much
had bright.
I exclusively read like fantasy books, so it's like,
Oh yeah, me too.
hey, new things all the time.
Yeah.
And I think maybe our audience might have a little interest in such a genre. Am I right?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a smidge.
I can't read.
Okay.
Yeah, we know that. We know that, Tom.
That's why
but yeah,
Audible's available.
Yeah, Audible is available. We're not sponsored by Audible though, so
No.
we're not going to promote them anymore. But yeah, no, I just think it's really cool. We've done some stuff with our friend Brian McClellan as well. I just think it's cool that D&D authors are, I saw Joe Abercrombie starting to do more stuff, like reaching out into, the wider space as well. So very, very cool.
Show
and again,
them
link in
that we're
chat,
great
link in video description.
to sponsor.
Yeah, show them.
Yeah.
Go visit. Thank you.
Click. Perfect. That's it for our two sponsors this week. We will kind of mention them again midway through the episode. But the next thing we want to talk about, Katie's going to tell you all about merch.
Merchandise. We have new things again. I know we only just released new things, but now we're getting close to the holiday period. So it would be rude
It's a big
not
time.
to have a holiday collection for you guys. So what we do have is, first of all, returning, because a lot of you might have missed out the first time. This was the first limited edition pin that we did. And it's Starbane. He's coming back. So
He's
we're going to
back.
get some more
Starbane's back. Oh,
Starbane
God.
for you.
Woohoo.
And to match Starbane, we do have a new one, which I believe Kim can show you just now. We got Siaska.
We got
Siaska's come to join the party.
The pair.
The two
Hey,
go. Yeah,
Power
look.
couple.
aren't they beautiful? So yeah, we got
Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Is this the
Fight, fight,
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, yeah.
Is this a death scene or is it a love scene?
They're murdering each
Hard
other.
to tell. Hard to tell.
Hard to tell. Could be both.
So yeah, we got Starbane coming back. We got Siaska coming out. We got a couple of other things. So returning again is our
Bum,
Christmas
bum,
jumper.
It's a
Yeah.
holly
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
jolly D&D.
However,
Cozy. So good.
new and improved. So it's the
is.
same design as last year, but it is 50% softer, 50% cotton, more of it. So
50% more.
50% more of cotton in it. Yeah,
It's just 50% more.
It is very
50%
cozy.
more comfy.
It's very cozy.
It is the same. It's just a slightly different supplier that we've got this year, same design, and it is
Softer,
just
nicer.
slightly off-white, slightly, but
Yes.
it's still pretty bright. So yeah, if you missed out last year, we have got these coming back in stock, which is awesome.
Modeled by
the
Matthew
last
Mercer
thing-
himself.
Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah.
We should get that
and
picture. We should put
Rhiannon
that
is
picture up.
also wearing it, and so is Trot today. So there you go. That's them wearing it.
Check it out.
But
I'm not as handsome as Matt
beautiful,
Mercer, though.
beautiful.
No, that's not
Oh,
true
she's
at all.
stunning. Look at that hair,
Oh.
Rhiannon. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And the Siaska badge too.
Here it is.
The Asker
Yeah.
badge. I like the
Reppin'.
gangster chain as well. Like the big chain with the turtleneck.
I like to clash the tones, you know?
I
No, I
have no
love it. It's
idea what
great.
this outfit is. There's so much going
It's
on.
amazing.
I do have
There's
one more
There's more.
item.
There's
That's
more.
very, 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 very exciting because we've
This
The
is
Reynard
very
been
cool.
looking forward to this for such a
No.
long time. It's not Reynard. Reynard's sold out. Can't get Reynard
Did he?
anymore. He's gone.
He's sold
He's
out,
gone.
Tom!
He's gone. He's out there.
Um,
He's sold out.
the very last thing that we've got is something that we've been really excited about. This is going to be a pre-order, which we are hoping arrives by Christmas to you guys, but depends on where you are in the world. So this will be a pre-order, but we have a new dice set coming out.
Oh my
But
god.
not just a new dice set. We've got a really cool dice holder for it, which is a
Oh
scroll.
my god.
I
It says high rollers
have
on
been
it.
hyped about this
It's
fucking thing
embossed.
for so fucking long.
It's really
So,
cool.
yeah.
And then
It's a
if I
dice
unroll it for
scroll.
we have
Bum,
some
bum,
beautiful
bum.
artwork by Nina Serena with Starbane and Siaska. We're going very Starbane and Siaska
Map of
this holiday
Aerois.
season. Map
Yeah.
of Aerois with Starbane and Siaska on it. And then we've got a pouch here which will contain your dice,
Oh
which
my
are a
god.
beautiful.
Ooh.
Surely they're just
Beautiful.
normal dice, Katie. They wouldn't be crazy, awesome looking dice.
No, surely.
No, they are only embossed with the high rollers on the 20 there. They are inspired by Siaska's Cradle, which is a
Oh my
beautiful
God.
blue with green shimmer inside it.
Maybe put your hands
Iridescent
behind it for the
gorgeousness.
camera focus.
It's not working, Tom. It's
Oh.
not working for me.
Sort of. It's vaguely working. But yeah,
But
beautiful dice.
it
There
doesn't
will
matter
be pictures
because-
of these as well.
There's pictures that Nina's already taken, which we will tweet
Mhm.
for you. But basically, yeah, this scroll comes with a little pouch with these dice in it, and you can roll it up. It's got high rollers embossed on the outside. We're very, very excited about this one. So it will be for pre-order, but yeah, holiday collection coming next week at 4 p.m.
Yes.
on Sunday, the
That's right.
14th.
So next
Set your
Sunday,
alarms.
4 p.m.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you got plenty
You gotta
of time
get in
for
there.
paintball.
Yes.
So make sure you grab it
yeah.
all.
Grab it all.
Pins, as always, will be limited edition. So
Yes.
holiday stuff. Whee!
Get it.
Are the
Nice.
Christmas jumpers limited, Katie?
I believe they are, but I think we have a relatively decent number
Large
of those.
number.
I will double check
But-
for you.
They are still going to probably be
Um,
limited. So don't. Yeah, if you
yes.
want them, grab them.
Don't sleep on
Um,
it.
Yes. amazing merch, nice big Christmas drop, very Siaska and Starbane themed for the holidays. I don't really know why those two are specifically holiday related, but they are now. So you should go and
We
check it
just
out. And
happened
as we
to
always
have
say,
a bunch of art for them, and we were like, "This is really good art, Nina. Let's put it on a thing."
just timed out really well. So make sure you grab the pins, grab the jumper, grab the new dice set, and all of the other stuff that we just always have on the store as well. Why not just do yourself a big old High Rollers Christmas and buy yourself everything at once? We've got gift cards
Rollers
now
still
as
up
well.
there.
Yep.
Thalia is still available. DM is out of stock now. We still do have our last drop. However, that might be disappearing soon. So if you do want a clear clear skies cropped hoodie, t-shirt, acid wash t-shirt, or storm chasers, please
Get them
think about
soon.
getting it soon. Don't laugh at me.
Yes.
Man,
Also,
I've just said
how
a
long
lot
was
of
the
words.
Laughing at-
how long was the
laughing at
DM
Reynard.
pin out there for, Katie? That was only like there for a week, right? We
Oh
only announced
my
that like a
God.
week or two ago.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was really quick. It went like that.
Oh my god.
Can you make Thalia sell out faster than Reynard? That's the real question, gamers.
That would be the ultimate insult to Tom. Like if an NPC sells out faster than Reynard.
Yep.
Starbane
also-
sold out pretty fast the first time.
That's because it's Starbane from our current campaign. Like, of course. Anyway, there's also
Get the
there's
hoodie.
also gift
Get the hoodie.
cards on the store
Also
as
gift
well.
cards.
So if
Yeah.
you
That's a good one to
don't
buy.
quite know what another person wants, it's available. You can buy it on High Rollers, and it works across the entire store. So the gift cards is
But
the
buy
way
the High
to
Rollers
go. Buy the High Rollers one, of course.
It's upside down, Marie. It's upside down. What are you doing? Oh, you potentially.
But what a great way to support High Rollers and by buying merch. Support High Rollers. Is there another way to do that? There is.
There
On the Patreon. We have a Patreon, as you may well know, and that is the greatest place to support us because it means we are able to do amazing things soon. That will be very, very cool if you were to support us on there. There's more stuff coming for you soon on there too, hopefully. At the moment, you get early access to podcast episodes. In the near future, there will be more, much more. So support us on Patreon, please. Please.
Absolutely do. And before
Son of a
we go
bitch.
into the recap and the dun-duns, I'm going to say this. Do not miss next week's episode. There is going to be a very exciting announcement next week. You don't want to miss it. Be there. And with that, let's do the dun-duns.
Spooky.
Welcome back to Aerois. Our party of heroes have traveled to the Feywild, also called Lunaria, to save the life of their ally, Thalia, an astral ship captain who has been cursed by a powerful sorceress. To reach the Feywild, the party have brought a kind-hearted and energetic centaur woman, not native to Aerois, called Rosemeadow with them. On arrival, the party traveled through expansive, strange woods and encountered a band of knights and soldiers attempting to fight a huge, powerful manticore. After defeating the creature, the knights offered to escort the party and take them to a nearby resting point, a camp of nomadic centaurs who may be able to give them more information. The Fairmeadow centaurs welcomed them openly and gave them much information about the city-state of Heartspire, Thalia's former home, and the location of the sorceress responsible for her curse. The centaur Commodore, Ulster's Fairmeadow, also shared with them the tragic tale of the Rosemeadow family, a branch family of the Meadow Roamers, telling them how they were blessed with a unicorn centaur child, but Zarkira came to take her away. Seeking the aid of a witch in a place called Black Stallion Woods, the Rosemeadows are now trapped there, as Zarkira set two relentless spirits to hunt anyone who enters those onwards. We left things with the party deciding what they were going to do next after having a beautiful, very peaceful, calm, and very picturesque long rest under the stars here in the Feywild on the edges of a place called Everclear Lake, amongst the Fairmeadow Centaur clan. And that is where we're going to pick up. We're just going to start. Yeah, you guys let me know what the plan is, what you want to do.
I believe people wanted to buy a lot of things from this guy. He is about to get rich.
Well, we can kind of have retcon that you kind of put these requests in last night. Ulstus is particularly magical and can create certain items, only a limited number of things, in a much shorter space of time. But yeah, what do people want to grab? You fire off, and so the audience knows what you're picking up.
I put the chest down, I open it up, I walk away, I close my eyes.
Okay. Nice.
Nova's rummaging for a long old time, and she would like to buy, I think it was goggles of night, the gloves of thievery, and a headband of comprehending languages.
Yep, none of those require attunements.
No.
You have the list of the money. I can't remember exactly what it is. I've got it somewhere.
1,400 gold.
Sure, there you go. Ulstus will easily make those. He probably has some of those things kind of already made. The headband of comprehend languages is probably something he has several kind of pre-made ones done. The other ones he constructs over the night. Just can hear him sort of as you guys are trying to fall asleep. You do hear the soft kind of sound of cutting leather, kind of being pressed and stiffened. You kind of get these strange floral aromas coming from this large kind of Bedouin tent that he seems to be working in throughout the night. But yeah, easily you can buy all of those things, add them to your inventory. Just Google, search for them in D&D Beyond. Google search them in D&D Beyond, and add them to your inventory.
Okay, then.
Nice.
The only thing is to keep in mind, Kim, is if you have, obviously you can't wear two head items. So your helm of telepathy, you can't wear it and the headband of comprehend languages at the same time.
That's a really good point.
But
If
you
it's
could
a
just
headband,
take,
though,
you
can
could,
I just
you can just take it off and then put the other one on. It just requires you to
Okay.
do that because you don't need to unattune to the headband of telepathy. You just need to physically take it off your head and put the
and put it
headband
on.
on. But you just need to remember
I
that you
had
need to
this-
physically switch them.
I had this idea that the goggles of night as well would just be extra little lenses that I can just slip over, because they've already got scrying lenses on my goggles. So I just had this idea of little extra kind of steampunky type lenses that you could just rotate down, just as an aesthetic. No? 'Cause
Sure,
you
but
could
you
make
still
that-
have
add
to.
that
You still
to
have to
my-
spend. You still have to spend an action to swap them. We'll
an
say that.
action. Yeah.
It's
I'll
just
do
an
that.
action to swap the
That'd be
kind of
really cool.
lenses. Sure.
Yeah.
Like
But
little night vision
aesthetically,
goggles. You
that's
kind of
how it
slap
is.
them on. You're
Yeah.
you have to turn them and then turn them on, and then
pretty
they go
cool.
on. Yeah, sure.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then same. I don't think you have any items for gloves. Do you? You don't have any glove-based items.
No,
so
I got
gloves of
nothing.
thievery we can wear. Yeah,
No.
sure. Easily done. You give the money. Ulstus doesn't really negotiate. He basically said that those are his prices because that's what it costs to make the items. So there's no sort of bargaining here. Anybody else picking up anything else?
Lucius has his hands behind his back and he's glancing at the wares in front and he's doing the casual yes, very nice, lovely. Oh yeah, very nice craftsmanship. I'm not interested, sorry. And just walks away.
Okay. Just an absolute put down, but sure.
Pointless RP.
I wanted it to be when you go into someone that's really passionate about their own work, and you kind of walk in, and then you have this awkward moment of so you interested in anything? And Lucius is clearly not interested in buying anything, but he's just being nice about it.
It's like when you walk into a little a craft shop, or somebody takes you in there and you look around and you leave without buying anything.
Yeah,
You're just
he inspects everything and wow, it's lovely. This is lovely. I'll be back.
You did get your cloak of billowing though.
Yes, I did have
you
that.
Get that
Yeah.
didn't you? You bought that last
I
time.
do have that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Ree, I know you had stuff on the list.
Yeah, I think Sentry would be nervously glancing over at Rosemedow's tent with the story that's been told ringing in her head, the danger of Zarkira. And she's gonna buy a ring of protection and the horseshoes of speed, but she's gonna give those to Rosemeadow in the morning.
Okay, yeah. So the horseshoes of speed, Ulstus looks at you and he kind of like sees what you know. He knows that you're obviously not buying them for yourself, and he just kind of gives you a nod. He's like, "Aye, we can do that. I'll have her fitted for them when she wakes up, and we can do that, and we can make sure they're fitted." And in terms of the ring, he displays you a very beautiful. The ring isn't made from metal; it's actually from carved gemstone. So the ring is like made purely from probably something like rose quartz, and it has like inscribed elven runes kind of written all over it, but it's not like a metal gemstone ring. It's more like a cut gemstone ring, purely from the stone itself. And yeah, it's like delicately engraved. The lettering is all kind of with silver sort of like markings that indicate the elvish runes, and he puts that in your hand. But Rosemeadow will need to attune to that ring. You'll need to give it to her, and she'll need to physically attune to it. But yeah, you do watch as people are kind of, you guys are getting ready to make leave. Rosemeadow comes. Rosemeadow probably wakes up quite early, and you can see her returning with a bunch of like the other centaurs, and they've gathered things like firewood and stuff like that, and she's been helping them. And Ulstus calls her over, and he starts taking her to like his leatherworking station, and sort of he's like, "Oh, yeah, your friend has paid for you to have these have some new shoes and things like that." And Rosemedow's just like, "Oh," she just thinks that they're normal horseshoes, right? So she's just like, yep. She like brings her hoof up, like she's getting a manicure. Like she brings her hoof up and also starts working away at it and stuff like that.
How much is that manicure?
2,000 gold
3,000 gold total with the ring included.
for the ring as well.
Hey, we're not paying rent anywhere. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You walked, Tom Hazel, your exact words were, "I open the chest, walk away, and close my eyes." So
I close my eyes, but my perception extends to hearing. Does Ayla buy anything?
How much money are you taking?
I was I was maybe
It's like
going to
an
get
owl.
some boots of elven kind. They don't require attunement. They
do not.
boots,
Yep, they're just
which is
sneaky
500
boots.
gold. If that's
Mhm.
okay.
Silent.
Yeah, and it's advantage
boots.
on stealth checks when moving around. So like not to do with like, so it's like if you're moving through a place, then they help you. If you're just trying to hide, it won't always give you the benefit, but for things like moving around natural terrain and stuff, they help you on that. And yeah, like Ulsus probably looks at your own boots and he says, before you go to sleep, lass, give me your boots and I'll fix them up. Because he sees that you're wearing leather boots, and he'll just take your own ones and he'll like repair them and fix them up and probably clean them. So when you get them back, they are like noticeably less stinky. They've been cleaned, they've been tidied, all the leather work's been patched up, but they now have bands of leather kind of like wrapped around the boots, and each band has the same sort of sylvan script written around it, and they sort of bend around each of the straps of the boots, a couple over like the toe and the heel and stuff like that as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I come back to the chest. I look inside. I breathe in. I look up at the sky. A single tear, and then I turn it tiny and put it back in my pocket.
Sure. Okay. Well, if that's done, yeah, also, has all of this stuff prepared for you. You can see that the centaurs and things like that, Ulsus he says, "So, what's your plan? I know that you said that you were going to speak to your friend Rosemeadow. Are you going to help her? Or do you need directions towards Heartspire?"
I'd like to help her.
I think, yes, I think we should come clean to her. We've brought her to a strange land that she is not used to, surrounded by people she didn't even know existed that are just like her. And I think, well, she'll have some questions of her own. And I think we'll be honest with our answers. But I think we'll help her. Directions to Heartspire would be useful either way.
Oh, of course, yes, that's no problem at all. I'll give you... he kind of thinks for a moment. He says, "Well, it's a few days to Black Stallion Woods, but we can make sure that you've got plenty of food and provisions, and I can point you in the right direction, and we have boats for crossing the lake. I'll let you know more about how to get there when you've spoken to your friend. But when you're ready, come let me know. I'll make sure that you've got everything you need to get going." Thalia will kind of come over to you, Ball, and just sort of like nod and say, "Thank you. I'm glad that we can help Rosemeadow with this. I feel awful that we had to use her to come here for my benefit, and to know that there was something we could do in return. I would have been disheartened if we'd left without fixing that as well."
I thought as much.
don't worry as well. I've been taking measurements of the tattoo on your arm while you were sleeping, and I made some calculations, and I think we have enough time to help her and sort you out as well. So tactically,
Good.
it's a smart move.
While she was
Yeah,
sleeping.
in terms of the briar, the kind of thorn that's weaving its way up Thalia's arm, this indication of the magic curse and when it's going to eventually kill her. The rate at which it's growing currently, Kim. No, I'm going to make it clear. It's progressing. You reckon that if it continues progressing at the same rate, as long as it doesn't increase in its spread, like the accelerate, it doesn't accelerate in its spread. You reckon that there's maybe a week, 2 weeks between that time. It's progressing. You know, you've certainly got at least sort of 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
Provided it doesn't accelerate or decelerate. If you can find ways to slow it, that could help as well.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say, like, is there anything like an Arcana check or something I can make to see if Brainy Nova can think of any ways to slow it down?
You can definitely make an Arcana check, yeah, for sure.
Arcana. Here we go.
Anybody proficient
15.
in Arcana can make that check as well. If you want to like ask the others if they can think of anything.
I can absolutely.
Head empty.
I also
No
can,
thoughts,
yeah.
Head empty.
If Nova asks.
Not as good
I
as
think
you.
Nova would ask.
Yeah.
17.
Okay.
Quill's the
Yeah,
one.
Quill and Nova. Lucius, you can't think of anything. Like, most of your magic deals more with like elemental kind of structures. Like, your chromatic vision is more about the magic, elemental magic.
It's innate.
And sort of
Yeah.
raw power more than anything. But Quill and Nova, I think you guys would both kind of figure something like Greater Restoration, the spell Greater Restoration, might be able to slow down the rate. It might be able to like pause it for a short period of time. Probably not very long, but if you were desperate, it could probably do something. Otherwise, you would any sort of extremely powerful healing magic. So things like the heal spell, Greater Restoration, maybe the regenerate spell, maybe all of those things would slow it down, but they're not going to cure it. You don't think that based on this curse that they're going to actually like get rid of the curse, but they should be able to like, you know, prolong it for a little while. Anything more than that would require somebody of an equivalent power to the person who put the curse in the first place. And considering that Sayana could barely get rid of the first one, like that's going to need to be somebody of an archfey or equivalent. This is going to need to be somebody who is the same level of power as Mesmera.
If you could predict the pattern of the full design on the arm, and you painted it on there, would that speed things up?
What? Why?
Maybe.
Let's move on.
Do
I'm
curses
just going to
travel?
say maybe.
Do curses travel by paint? I think is what he's asking.
Yeah.
Maybe. With his 13, he doesn't know.
That's what Lucius
It's certainly
thinks
an
about.
idea.
Right.
Certainly an idea.
We're keeping Lucius away from paint then. After this conversation happens as well, Nova is going to take out her energy crossbow that she's been lugging around in her pockets for ages and just dump it on Thalia and be like, here, by the way, I noticed you said something about your pistols not working, so now you own this. Pointy end, not so pointy end.
She holds it and she's like, that's very sweet. And this is definitely a very useful, it's a very nice weapon. It's definitely got a bit more heft than my pistols. It's still Magitech, darling. And she looks at you like, and it's a Valkyrian energy. She's like, it's still Magitech, darling. It's still going to have the same problem that my guns do. But it does pack a bit more of a punch. And it's always useful to have a backup.
Well, at
yes.
the very least, you could just hit someone with it. It's quite heavy.
I can certainly do that, yes. But no, I will keep a hold of it. I mean,
How are you
the
holding
problem-
that? Where did you get that out of?
It's slung on like Nova's back. I'm assuming she had it like on
It's been on my
There
back
is like
for
a
ages.
strap on it. Yeah, she
Never
has a strap
noticed.
Yeah, she's had it for a long fucking time. But yeah, like Thalia will kind of strap it over. Thalia doesn't have any armor, but she does have her like holsters with her 2 arcane pistols in. She does have like a selection of like magic shells, and yeah, she's still got that, but she slings the crossbow over. She says, "Well, I'm better at range, so I'll try and keep my distance. So even if the Magitech is influenced by Lunaria's magic, hopefully I'll be at a distance where I won't be in too much trouble. I'll try and stay out of the way, especially I think." As Rosemeadow and Kyrie aren't really fighters, keeping us with them, making sure that somebody's watching over them is probably a smart idea. But yes,
good idea.
We should get ready. The other thing I want to note as well is when you guys made your Arcana checks, it's very obvious from your interactions when Sayana cured the Medusa curse, and the vision that you saw in the book when you did Legend Lore Quill. Just to make it clear, this curse is not like a poison in her arm, right? You couldn't cut her arm off and then regenerate it. The curse is bound to her spirit. It's like it's a magical curse. It's not like a chop off arm, regrow arm situation.
Okay.
It's
It's
not
a
a
visual
poison.
representation.
It's a visual representation of time running out. Is the briar kind of crawling up her arm? That's all it is. It's just a visual reminder. The curse is a magical curse.
So we need to cut out her soul and regenerate that.
And that actually, Quill, that would certainly work. How you would go about it, but the theory in Quill's, magical knowledge, in theory, if you could find a way to cut out the cursed soul and somehow regenerate her normal soul, that would work.
White
Can we put her in the Guardian?
Maybe.
Oh my god.
What, you pull her into the Matrix?
Yeah, then plop her in a Guardian.
You've never tried to pull a non-guardian spirit into the Matrix like that before, but
Holy crap.
It could potentially be a thing.
I was
Because
joking.
a guardian,
But
Our
Oh,
Guardian
still-
in the Feywild.
that's the thing, is you don't know
Question mark.
what effect
Question mark.
this curse would have,
Yeah.
on a guardian's body. Like, obviously, this curse is tailored to Thalia. Like, this is not like a normal mundane spell. This spell is, I want to kill Thalia Whisperwind when this timer runs out, basically. And that's what's going to happen. So putting her in a guardian body might change that. Like, that might fuck with the curse in some way. It also might not. It might just continue to kill her. It's an interesting idea.
A little bit lichy as well.
It's
putting
pretty
a soul in a
lichy.
phylactery.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. If Nova wants to think of that, having read about things like Legends of Liches, that's another way that Thalia could survive. Like, if she was undead, this probably wouldn't affect her.
Do I want a lich as a girlfriend?
I'm about
powerful.
it. I'm about it. Be pretty strong.
You could also become a lich yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
why
could both
not?
become liches.
Why don't we all just become liches? Why don't we all become liches? And then
Yeah,
there we go.
let's do it. I'm about it. I know a
but
few
then we'd
people
have
who can help you
to
with that.
we'd have to fight you, and I don't really want to smack my lich up.
Thanks, bye.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's been real nice.
The curse
end
is
of the
traveled by
stream.
paint, though.
The curse is traveled by paint, though. That is the question.
No, not after that, Tom. Don't bring it back to that when you just said something
Let me
that
deflect.
terrible. No,
Don't worry, I'm
no, you
gonna
can't.
deflect. I'm gonna deflect for Tom, because as you are having these conversations and thoughts, Ulstus finishes attaching the horseshoes to Rosemeadow, and you see you see Ulstus. You understand Ulstus's facial expressions because you can clearly see he's trying to explain to Rosemeadow what the horseshoes do, and she just isn't quite grasping it. Like, he's like, you can see him like mouthing the words, and he's saying something like, Quill, who can read lips, is like, he's basically saying like, so you do this, and when you speak this word, and it's like some Sylvan word, like, some, I don't know, some poem or something. When you recite this, you'll move very fast. And then Rosemedow's just like, what do you mean I can run? I can do that already. Like, she's just completely like, losing it. But she eventually kind of like nods her head, and she trots over, and she's just like, oh, hello everyone. Sentry, thank you so much for these nice new horseshoes. Thank you so much. They're really nice.
Oh, that's okay. How do they feel? You feeling all right?
I mean, yeah, they feel great. They're very nice and comfortable, and Ulstus knows what he's doing. He said that they'll make me go really fast.
Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know what we're going to encounter while we're here, but my idea is that if anything happens, you'll be able to get away.
Okay.
And also,
yeah, that sounds great.
And I also got you this as well, and I'll give her the ring of protection.
I need to make a
Just
roll. I need to make a
more
roll
things
for
to
something.
add to the list.
Is it an intelligence roll?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's a 6 for Rosemeadow. She looks at it. It's actually more of an insight. Actually, she's kind of good at insight. She looks at the ring and she looks at you, and there's a moment where like her cheeks go red and she like looks and thinks like, and then she's like, oh, this is just a friend's ring, right? This is just because we're friends.
Yes. Sorry, no. I should've
Okay.
explained.
Yes. No, that's fine. I had moments there for a second when I thought this is also
Sorry.
Century. I don't know how I feel, but no, it's a
understand the misconception.
friendship ring. That's nice.
Yes.
That's really lovely. Thank you so much. Oh, it's so
That's
pretty.
okay. So this should also hopefully keep you protected as well. I promised I'd
the
protect you when
magic
you came
thing.
here, and I want to make sure that you're safe, and I want to do everything I can to make sure that I keep my promise. So
That's okay.
This
I
is
know
fine.
you will. And she's just like, you'll look after me. And she just like pats you on the arm and stuff. Like, but thank you. It's lovely.
it's another magic ring. So
Okay.
you might.
I just have to
do
wear it. I don't
some-
have to speak a poem or a riddle or
No,
anything
no,
like that.
no.
I just wear it,
No.
right?
Just wear it, right? Yeah, exactly. Just wear it.
Well, hang on a Sentry. Rosemeadow, are you aware of tapping into the magical properties of particular items that you're wearing? Let me simplify that. Ring make strong?
I'm not an idiot, silly. You don't have to talk to me like that. Okay, so it's magic ring. I just wear it, right? I just have to wear it and the magic will protect me.
If that's how attunement works. Yes.
But because, I mean, yeah, Rosemeadow will kind of, in an hour, she will be attuned to the ring, yes.
Yes. No poems required.
Okay, great. Yay!
Keep wearing it.
So where are we going now? Are we gonna go? We gotta go help your friend. We've gotta help Nova's special friend.
While they're having this conversation, Sentry's giving the
Special
gifts. I'm just going to go over and shake Ulster's hand and then thank him once again for the very hospitable night and hope he does well, that sort of thing, and hope we see
He
him
looks
soon.
down at you, and like Ulster's compared to you, Lucius, like Ulster's is, he's a giant horseman. So I can't remember, like, the really big horses. I can't remember what they're called. Like the really
Shire
big
horses?
ones.
Mega
Yeah,
horse.
Like
Mega
the big
horse.
Shire horses.
So he's
yeah.
like the big kind of like big Shire horse, and then he's a pretty muscular, tall dude, like torso wise. So he's probably like 10 feet. Like you're like definitely like up shaking his hand, but he kind of like bends down. He like crouches his front legs, and he looks at you very seriously. He's like, not at all, my friend. We've all heard the tragedy of the Rosemeadows, and to know that there's maybe a little bit of hope for them and that you're willing to take on these risks. A night's rest and a good meal is the least we can do. Before we leave, I'll make sure that you've got provisions, and there's a few boats that we carry with us. We've got a few little kayaks that will get you across the lake, and we'll leave those for you here as well.
Very kind. I shan't forget the generosity. I hope I'll take that back to our home plane with us.
Of course, please do, and I hope that one day you can return to Lunaria, perhaps with less dire need than you have.
I hope so too. Well,
He just big firm handshake, giant sort
yes,
of like calloused hand.
it's quite strong. Well, we'll be on our way. I'll ask Quill to heal my hand. Thank you. Bye.
He just nods. Yeah, and you can see that him and his family, the Fairmeadows, they're like loading up like some big sort of like heavy knapsacks, and you can see them just stuffing them full of food and wine skins and water skins. And a group of young male and female centaurs, like young athletic male and female centaurs, they're carrying like a long kayak, 2 long kayaks, a group of them, and they're taking them down to the edges of the lake, basically.
What lovely people, as I say, as I walk up to the rest of the group. Look at this. Isn't this just a wonderful community? Just going out of their way to help strangers that they met only yesterday. If Aerois could hold themselves to those kind of morals, we wouldn't be in a predicament at all.
Thalia will probably look over actually when you say that and just say like, it's nice. There's a few groups like this here in Lunaria. But unfortunately, a lot of the rest of the Feywild is similar to Aerois. If you go into the big cities, it's all politics and what people can do for you rather than what you can do for others. But I'm glad that there are still some folks who are, well, not necessarily keeping to the old ways, but still have that freedom, that sense of just living.
Mm.
Reminds me of Rose Hall. Remember Rose Hall?
I wonder
Probably
how
for
our
the wrong
charity
reasons.
is getting on there. Yeah, I just, that's where we set our charity up. Remember? I wonder how it's gone. If they've managed to do anything with it.
Well, I mean, we haven't put any money into that at all, and
No.
didn't assist in any way. So, maybe not do well.
Probably.
Well, I think the idea was that you were trying to set up something that other people would like contribute to help everybody else out, right? Like the idea was that like you were trying to
yeah.
create almost like a, not like a charity, but also sort of like a cooperative where like all the towns sort of
Help
put their spare money
help
in to
them
help
help
each
themselves.
other. Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
idea. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
we're
how
gonna
I
get
did my
there.
note about it.
Rosemeadow is now like this capital city, this metropolis. It's suddenly the best thing that's
The
ever
money got
happened
laundered.
to Aerois.
All right.
Nice.
Lucius is now just looking at Sentry and then glancing at Rosemeadow and nodding a little bit.
Oh. Rosemeadow. So
Yes?
we're going to find your family, if that's okay. We
Oh my
know where they
goodness.
are.
You do? I mean, I remember
well,
that you
we
said
might,
when we were first coming
might
here.
know. Maybe
Okay.
Rosemeadow. Let's set expectations. We want to try.
Well, I want to make it clear, I don't have any expectations. You folks told me that you might know where I came from, and I didn't even think I did have any family. I thought that I was alone and just, in Kaylee's Rest, and then I met all of you. I don't really know anything. I don't know what to expect. I'm just so happy to see this wonderful place that you've brought me to. It's so magical and so beautiful, and just, I'm so glad you brought me. But I don't want to take any time away. I mean, and she gestures at Thalia like, Nova's girlfriend. We need to help her. You can see that she kind of like, yeah, like the word girlfriend is like, she kind of says like, oh my goodness. But I
Nova's
mean, if you
blushing as
want
well,
to help me
naturally.
find somebody, or if you think you know where I may come from, that would be lovely.
We've all discussed it. We've all looked at the options, and we think helping you next would be the best course of action. So we're going to do that.
Okay.
But
Well, that sounds lovely.
I'm not very good at the sad stuff. But there might be a bit of a problem.
Uh-huh.
So your family might be in a bit of trouble, and we just need to get them out of the trouble first.
Well, that's what you're all so good at doing. You're heroes. You can do that. I have complete trust that you can do that.
That's good. Shall I elaborate?
If you turn around to me, I'm like 10 feet away. I'm backing up slowly away from this conversation. I do not want to start speaking.
I don't know how sad.
We're
to
just
go.
I think
We're just gonna see how it goes.
Still there.
I'm still
we're
here.
gonna go this way. Might come across some bad things. We'll see how it goes.
Well,
See how
you
it
can.
goes.
Ayla. You can smash any bad thing that comes in the way. I'm sure.
Yes, even if it's spectral. Yes. We'll see how it goes.
Rosemeadow, we need you to know this is going to be dangerous. Really dangerous. Really
Okay. Well,
dangerous.
but you're gonna protect me, right? I don't have to do it on my own. Well, then I
No.
don't. I'm not worried. I have Nova, my dear, and she kind of goes over and she takes your hand. She's like, there are nobody in Aerois or in this world or anywhere else that I trust more than you. She looks around at everybody. If you say that I'm going to be fine, if you're going to protect me, well, then I just know everything's going to work out fine.
We're gonna see how it goes. Yeah, okay. And Neil's gonna walk away.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Rosemeadow just kind of like hugs Nova and is like really happy and smiley and just like trots along. Do, 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 do. Not a worry in the world about anything that's going to happen because she has her heroes to protect her. Yeah.
I don't. We need to. Oh. Oh God.
We have a journey ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's divulge bits of information as we go. She deserves to be prepared for what's ahead and not be hit by it.
Also, maybe just say that we're not entirely sure that she is the Rosemeadow that people talk about. It could be,
Sure, you
could
don't
also
even know.
very much not be. And if it turns out that it's not her, it would really suck if we told her all this really tragic stuff because she'll probably cry, and I can't really deal with that if it's
She's already
unnecessary.
crying.
If she starts
Yeah,
crying, I'm gone.
But if she goes again and it's unnecessary because she's the wrong person, then that's not good. I don't want to see that again, you know.
As a point, Rosemeadow wasn't getting that choked up. I just can't do any sappy emotion without it hitting me. That's purely Mark Hume's like any emotional moment hits me harder. The NPC not crying at all. NPC just really happy, has complete like it was said in a way that is just like you are literally she idolizes you five. Like she thinks you are the
Very
greatest
genuine.
heroes. Like she just
Yeah.
genuinely believes that as long as she's with you, she's no harm's going to come to her.
Oh, that makes it so much worse.
Let's aim
Yeah,
for
I know. Yeah, it's funny that.
let's aim for no crying because I don't think my ribs can take it. She's a hugger when she's happy. I do not want to experience crying, Rosemeadow. She'll crush me. I'm dead. But we can carry on the way that we're going, and the moment things get too dangerous, if they do, we leave. We just leave and we go elsewhere and try and find an alternate solution to this problem. We can figure it out as we go, I'm sure.
Thalia, she's like, I think I can see that Rosemeadow is obviously very ignorant to some of the dangers here. Like, you're right, it will be dangerous. Just reaching this place, I imagine that we'll be traveling through the wildlands. We're not going to be traveling through some known province here under the protection of a lord or a household. I mean, that's good in some ways and bad in others. There will be natural threats. There will be monsters, creatures, all sorts of things. If we need to, there will be places we can try and go for help. There are, the Archfey themselves, the lords and the ladies who rule the provinces and the city-states, there are numerous of them, and I'm sure that we can find one near these woods, and we may be able to petition them for aid. We may even be able to rely upon them for some sort of assistance if we desperately need it. I'd recommend we try and avoid that, because that will be a political game, one of favors and navigating political situations, and the courts of the Fae are never as easy as they may appear. But, as Mr. Quill says, we can find another way, find another route if need be.
Very well.
That could sound good, everyone?
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Ready to go.
Okay. Well, gather Rosemeadow, Kyrie, Big Cat, Thalia. Let's go.
Yeah, Big Cat just kind of like lets out a big yawns and starts stretching because he's just been asleep on the floor. Kyrie definitely Kyrie lurks either behind Thalia or near Quill. Like those, like if you see Kyrie, she's either like peering from behind Thalia or she's like hovering sort of around Quill's area, just like kind of in a weird kind of creepy teenage girl sort of like I don't know what I'm doing with myself way, just sort of lurking in strange places. But yeah, Big Cat kind of like just nuzzles up against her feathered wing and then just begins following after everyone else. Yes,
we long rested, right? We had a very nice
have a long
peaceful
rest.
sleep. Okay,
You did have a nice, lovely long rest, so make sure you
Excellent.
mark that down.
I wonder why it was so
when
nice.
when you guys show signs that you're ready to go, Ulstus will come up. Well, my friends, we've got some packs and things ready for you. The kayaks are down by the river. by the lake, and I can give you directions. We can. I'm afraid that it's a far way away, it's out of our way. Basically, we're not going to be traveling there. We'll probably pack up from here in a day or two, but we won't be traveling into the deeper wildlands. But I'll tell you this now: travel across the Everclear Lake by the boats, get to the far edge, that shore, and he points, and you can see that in the distance there is like a far side. You can see that there is a kind of the land begins to, it kind of carries on in the far distance. There's a mountain range and things like that. But also says, once you're across the river, you need to follow the river that flows into the lake. Follow the river until it starts becoming marshy and swampy. That's called, we call that place Yon Fen. Yon Fen stretches out a good few miles. It's probably 20, 30 miles. But on the other side of the swamp, you'll reach the Gazing Hills. Once you get up into the Gazing Hills, you'll find the Old King's Way. It's a sort of, you'll know it. I'm supposing you're not from Lunaria, so you probably don't know what a train is. But it's a series of metal bars and tracks that flow go in a certain direction. It's not used anymore. It's old, overgrown. But if you follow the tracks, if you follow the Old King's Way, I'll take you right to Black Stallion Woods.
Okay.
I reckon it's about 2.5, 3 days travel, all told.
3 days. Okay. And do you know of any sort of threats we might face out there?
Yon Fen. You should be fine until you reach Yon Fen. Yon Fen's a swamp. There's, we avoid it. There's all sorts of creatures and critters and bandits and all sorts that plague that area, because the knights don't tend to go there. The knights of the various provinces and cities, even the free knights like Lady Penelope, they tend to avoid the swamps. It's hard for them to fight in. But there's, not just creatures, but the swamp itself is dangerous. Mud pits, razor vine, marsh gas, all things to be wary of.
Okay, we can try and figure out some way of, levitating across it if possible, or flying.
Yeah, or find like a raft. If you can find a raft, that will help you get across some of it. But if you're on foot, it will be hard going for sure.
Okay, good to know. Everyone ready and excited? Been a long time since we've done some multi-day traveling.
Yeah.
I need to do some stretches. Lucius does some very elaborate, elegant yoga.
Okay, good.
I'm excited for this. It feels like old times. Feels like we're going back to where it all began in a way.
Oh yes, the good old days in the
Yeah, it
world.
does
Want
make-
me to
know.
carry any of you? Like, can you not die and have me carry you for several days? Because those old times sucked.
Yeah, no, it does make me think of Ironwick.
For all
and,
of us.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
You remember Firebear Nova? That was fun.
That was fun, and then the reality of walking through the wilderness with very little, and Arvel with a broken leg, that settled in for a while. Very little food, quite
I remember
cold.
Ayla fell in the river.
Yes, a very good moment, Quill. Thank you.
Yes,
and sleeping under the trees and
I
meeting
remember
people.
when Quill died.
Whoa! Whoa!
And when Quill lost an eye to that Goliath, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And then his jaw got broken in Gusthaven. That was.
Yeah.
Oh, look, we have to go.
Memories.
Good times.
I remember a lot of these things, yes, normally when I'm asleep.
trying to sleep into the dark oblivion takes me.
I still hear the screams.
Oh my god. You picked the wrong heroes, Rosemeadow. We're all broken.
Yeah, you're fine now. You're fine now. Well, we'll find out. When you make your way down to the lakeside, there are 2 kayaks. You're not all going to fit in one. You're going to need to divide up and decide who goes with who. They're quite big. They are designed so that the centaurs themselves can basically go. 2 centaurs can fit in them. And yeah, they're like long kayaks. They have oars and paddles. Somebody's going to need to paddle, them across the river as well, across the lake, to the other side. So yeah, who wants to go in what?
I nominate Ayla.
I mean, yes, obviously.
And Sentry.
Paddlers.
Peddlers.
Okay. So that means Ayla and Sentry will both be in separate kayaks. Who wants to go where?
I'm going to see what happens when they both sit in their kayaks. Is Sentry going to sink the kayak?
Sentry's
log.
one, it's certainly going to be, it dips a lot lower in the water than Ayla's one does. Like, Sentry's one definitely dips down lower by the extra weight.
Maybe I should take Sentries and you
Hollow
guys go with
bones,
Ayla.
yes.
That, yeah.
Makes sense.
And I can
Rosemedow's
just
like,
fly.
I think maybe I should go with Ayla's one because I am a little bit heavier. I understand. And she kind of like Rosemeadow is a centaur, so she's going to take up, 2 people's space.
How does that look now?
So I think that, Rosemeadow,
Puzzle game.
it lowers it a little bit. It's not really a puzzle game, but you definitely, looking at it, you need to decide who is going in what, because heavier people are going to weigh a boat down and you're going to need higher strength to keep that up and going. It's going to be more exhausting to kind of transport them.
So Quill, I think, with Rosemeadow and Sentry.
Rosemedow's in Ayla's boat, so you've got a Sentry
Ayla's
boat
boat.
and Ayla boat.
Quill with Sentry then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rosemeadow with
And-
Ayla.
Wait, no! Put Quill with me. No! Sentry needs more weight. I've got Rosemeadow now. Fuck off!
It balances out. It balances. You and Rosemeadow
Ayla's
and
currently getting all of the heavy people.
No, you're
Hollow
not
bones,
Sentry.
get in!
Fine. I'll get in Ayla's one.
now I've been doing some push-uppies, so I can help with the strength aspect if anyone's struggling a little bit. And also, I'm pretending to fall into the water, and then I walk on the water with my Stormcaller's chain.
That's true, yeah.
Oh,
you don't even need
look at that.
You don't need to row.
Do you really want to
That's
do
good.
more walking?
I'm not
Lucius?
walking. I'm just saying that if I go overboard, it's not such a big deal.
I can fly.
Keep in
May have
mind,
noticed.
Lucius, you could still be dragged under the water.
It's true.
It's like if you get pulled under, like the water walking effect basically doesn't count. It's only when you walk on top of the surface.
It's a conscious choice.
So in theory, if he was dragged underwater and then was let go, but he was
Mhm.
under the water, could he go, Boots, take me to the surface? And would they just
No,
like
he would have
whoop?
to swim
Oh,
to the
okay.
surface, and then he would be able to
Wanted to know.
basically climb up onto the surface of the water as long as he can
Again,
kind of
yeah.
get his feet up there, basically. Yeah. But he needs to swim up to close to the surface, and then the boots will take effect.
No, that won't happen though. You won't get pulled underwater. It's fine. Look at it. Beautiful lake.
Thalia will make a point of, well, Kyrie's very light. I'm fairly light. Big Cat's obviously going to be a bit heavy.
Oh,
Wow. Also, Big Cat
Well,
really
let's have a
doesn't
look
like
at our
water.
heavy. We've got Sentry, Big Cat, and Rosemeadow are the heavy ones. Yes. Anyone else heavy?
Yes.
Lads.
Nova she probably weighs more than Lucius does because Nova's got armor and gear on, whereas Lucius
Gadgets.
doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you've got the breastplate as well, don't you? You've got breastplate armor on, don't you, Nova?
I got
So Nova's
stuff.
definitely weighed down by more stuff. Whereas
Yes.
Lucius and Thalia are lighter because they don't really have as much gear.
you know what?
So
Me
Lucius
and
and
Kyrie
Thalia doesn't matter.
No.
Kyrie
Lucius
and
and
Quill
Thalia
doesn't
don't
matter.
We can
So-
fly. Me and Kyrie will fly, and we can keep an eye out on what's ahead of us and ideally below us while we're in the sky.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'll hop in. Whoever's. Who wants Lucius?
I think
can
if Quill and
tell
Kyrie are
tales.
gonna-
Come in my boat. Come in my boat.
If Quill and Kyrie are going
All
to
right.
fly, then yeah, you can just divide everybody up. If Ayla has Rosemeadow, Thalia, and Nova, and then Sentry has Lucius and Big Cat, and I think that's everyone.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yes.
everyone.
that works. And then you and Kyrie are going to fly. Are you Tom? Are you
Yeah,
Quill?
and then when we get to the other side, where they're going to take the boat back to pick up the fox, and then go back to pick up the sheep.
I was very close to only doing one kayak and trying to come up with that puzzle, and then I went, nah. I just went, nah, not gonna do that.
It's complicated enough already.
Cool. So when you guys set off, those of you who are in the boats, so the two rowers, I need you both to make athletics checks for the first half of the journey. One other person in each boat will need to make a perception check. Quill and Kyrie, you can also both make perception checks.
26 athletics.
So you and
Plus
Sentry are
12,
both following.
baby.
Nice, got the same.
I got an 8 for
8
perception.
perception. Nice.
Fine. We're having a nice time.
Thalia make a perception check?
Yeah,
Because Nova's got
Thalia can make
-1.
perception. Yeah, Thalia can
So
make
Thalia's
perception.
got +4.
Yeah, so just do a D4
D20.
plus 4.
I'd like to imagine
Oh,
my 8.
Big Cat's
19,
perception.
20, 21, 22.
You can roll Big Cat's perception. 22 for Thalia, and then Big Cat.
I like to think that Lucius literally can't see because he's got Big Cat's butt like right up, pushed up against him in this kayak.
It's just fluff.
Just
fluff
brimming
everywhere.
through fluff.
Got a 15 for Big Cat.
Okay, 15. And Quill, you're kind of spotting everything from up above. True.
Yep. I
Peregrine
stare
Hawk
into
fashion.
everyone's souls with my 28 perception.
28 perception. So Ayla and Sentry rowing, you're fine. You're both physically very strong. You have lots of endurance and stamina. Even with these increased weights, you're rowing across the lake and you get about halfway across so far without any real strain or tiredness or anything else like that. I mean, it's tiring work, but nothing more than what you're prepared for or expecting. For Thalia and Quill, Big Cat becomes unnerved by something. Like, you can see Big Cat is kind of troubled by something and is growing uncomfortable in the boat, Lucius, and is like doing, like, this is a cat in a boat in the middle of a lake, and he's like,
It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Moving's going to make it worse.
he's like, and then it's like water splashes up and he's like, and like freaking out. But Thalia and Quill, Quill, you would probably be the first one to spot this. There you see shapes underneath the boats in the lake, and at first you would think that this is one enormous shape, this dark shadow kind of looming up. But Quill, with that 28, you actually realize it's not one big thing, it's multiple smaller things. This is like a school of, and these fish must be the size of horses. Like, these are like giant kind of like river trout, but they're enormous. They're like huge, and there's multiples of them, like a school of them, and they're clearly attracted by the boats, but you don't think that they're necessarily hostile. Thalia can tell, she's like, there's something under the water here. I don't know what it is. And like, you can see her like readying one of her pistols, looking down the sides, and you can see this giant shadowy shape is looming. Quill, what do you want to do? Because you've got the most info.
How many are there, did you say? How many shapes?
There's like a dozen. Like, this is like a dozen, but they're massive, so it creates this enormous, like, gargantuan shadow.
And are they're aggressively coming towards us, I assume.
No, that's the thing. Well, I mean, you don't think that they're trying to attack the boats, but they're being drawn to the boats for sure. And like, they're so big that their movement is like sending, it's affecting the water around the boats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll yell down to everyone. We have a slight problem. There's something, I think, maybe coming towards us. About 12 shapes in the water. They're big.
I mean, this is Quilla's shouting this while he's flying. So it's like, and then he swings back around.
Is there some way we can form some sort of distraction or an illusion underwater to scare them away?
That would help.
I could create a huge ball of light.
I can create me, and go for a swim. Where is it?
It's gotta be
yes, I can do that.
scary, Nova. You going to be scary?
I'm scary. Look at me.
Whoa!
She's not scary.
You're right.
She's not going to do it. Needs to be scarier, Nova.
Well,
Something big.
What's
I need everybody in the boat to make an acrobatics check. As the school is like coming up close to the surface, the water becomes distorted, and you can see it beginning to adjust. I'm also going to just turn off a ton of internet things here. Try and stabilize
21.
my Turn a little bit.
So they're actually shaking around the boat now.
Yeah, and you can see it's because as they're swimming around, Tom, they're very excitedly swimming around the boats, and because their size and the number of them, it's kind of disturbing the water significantly to the point where even these heavy boats, it's kind of rocking them slightly to the side. Did anybody get under a 10?
No.
Just Lucius?
Thalia did.
Thalia and Lucius?
Actually,
can you make a
sorry,
roll for Big
you've
Cat with
given-
disadvantage as well, Sentry, please?
Okay, disadvantage. Okay.
Yeah, because he's unnerved. by
While
the
that's
water.
while that's happening, so I just rolled a d20 and got 9. But just reading the NPC stat sheet, do I add like a +3 because she's got Dex +3?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly that.
Acrobatics. Okay, cool.
She doesn't
yeah,
have.
okay,
I
so
don't
in
think
which
she has
case
training in
got,
acrobatics. 12.
Right. Okay. In which case she got 12. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's fine. What did Big
Got
Cat
a
get?
14 for Big Cat.
That was the lowest one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep, so
Right.
Big Cat's fine. You can see that Big Cat is like freaking out by the water, but is kind of now gone perfectly still and is like watching these shapes. You can see his eyes darting to and fro. Kyrie kind of flying next to Quill is like, oh, and she's kind of freaking out, but kind of just following you, Quill, as she flies through the air. But yeah, most of you. So Lucius, because this was a group check. So as like you're struggling to keep your balance, you're like peering over the sides of the boat. But like Ayla and like Thalia and Nova are like, whoa, and they're like, Sentry and Big Cat are like keeping it stable enough that you don't go overboard.
Nice.
Not enough people failed. But yeah, like this is only probably going to get worse the longer these fish schools, and like maybe one of them swims up and it like touches the boat and it bumps the boat. And sends you all sprawling. And they don't.
The cat does not like this at all.
Immediately, as a reaction to Big Cat getting angry, I'm gonna cast Mislead. And so yeah, I'll do. Oh,
What's
we got to
Mislead?
do something. So Nova is gonna turn invisible, and an illusory double of her will appear. And I can use my action to move it up to twice my speed to gesture, speak, and behave in a way I choose. I can see through its eyes and ears as if I was located where it was, and I can switch between both of us using a bonus action. So I would just use it to immediately dive into the water and just be big splashy, like lots of splashing, lots of kicking, shouting, screaming, like just making a bit like as if I'd fallen overboard and I was making a big noise.
Sure.
Out of interest, what do we see?
You see Nova go. You see Nova jump into the water. All of you
Okay.
see Nova jump into the water and start splashing around, and making noise.
I did
see her
say
cast
beforehand. I said
he casts a spell
I
and then
said
jumps in. Yeah.
no. I said
Okay.
in reaction to Big Cat, I would have said something like, like we got to do something, and then it would happen.
We got to do something, and then she jumps in the water and splashes around.
She's sacrificing herself!
I mean, that's what they see, Nova.
Nova!
I can just see Fluff. I see Big Cat.
Bumhole.
So.
See fluffy bumhole.
Yep.
So first thing first is I want to make a roll for these giant fishies. Do we have a stat? Is there a stat for a giant fish? Oh, sea eel. Maybe that'll do. Lightning eel. That's better. Oh, marvelous. What is your spell save DC, Nova Vija?
18.
18. -4.
Wow.
This type of saving throw. So I think that certainly a number of the fish would scarper. Like as soon as they see noise and like something like some creature diving in the water and splashing around, they definitely immediately swim away and panic. There's still plenty of them who, you are a medium-sized creature. There are these 2 big kayaks, and there are like half a dozen large creatures. There are a number of them scatter, but not all of them. One singular medium creature illusion is not going to be enough to throw these guys off. But they are now in a panic, and you do see like several of them start whipping around. I need everyone to make another acrobatics check that's in the boats.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Is Big Cat disadvantaged still?
Big Cat still is at a disadvantage. He hates being near
Okay.
water, so he's always at a disadvantage.
Alrighty.
16.
He is a big kitty. So this time it's a 13 or lower.
Alright. Big Cat got 13
Survived.
plus Dex is 16.
So he's going to succeed, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Roll
only
so well
no
for Big Cat.
Nova.
I know.
How was yours?
I got an 8 for Nova and a 7 for Thalia.
So, yep. So you're both gonna fail. And that is, and in that boat you have Rosemeadow and Ayla. I need to roll for Rosemeadow. Who's in this? Oh, marvelous, a 9. So Ayla, your boat, like you're managing to keep your balance. But who was lower out of Nova and Thalia? There.
Thalia.
Thalia. Thalia gets knocked over. So like as the boat is being tousled to the side, Nova, you're like invisible, like clutching onto like the seats. The boat is rocking to and fro, and Thalia just loses her balance, like trying to like hold on. And she's also like, "Are you all right?" I think you cast a spell, like she's trying to find you, and then she just whoosh, splashes into the water, and begins sinking down. What do you guys think?
Okay.
Sentry's just gonna like hold out her oar and be like, grab onto the oar, and try and like just reach as far as she can, like over to far.
Sure, make an acrobatics check for me, Sentry, because that's going to potentially tip over your boat as well if you're reaching over. If you're reaching heavily to one side, that's could easily. 19. So you managed to just balance your weight, like kind of keeping like your heavy shield and the lance starbreaker on one side to try and counterbalance. You reach out with the oar. I'll make a. Do you want to make a? Just make a strength check for Thalia. See if she can grab the oar.
Okay.
Over.
Got an 18.
Oh, sorry. This is for Thalia to make.
Oh, Thalia.
Sentry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So that she can grab on.
Oh,
basically.
sorry.
She's like trying to swim, basically. So just strength.
So
D20 plus strength.
D20. She's got 0 strength, and that's a 10.
It's enough. Like she splashes over and like manages to grab onto the oar before like anything else happens. And it's just a lake. She's just Thalia's like I can swim, just like but it's holding onto the oar sort of thing.
Just hold on tight. I've got you.
Have we
What,
got an action at the moment, like a free
Yeah,
action?
you can. I mean, yeah,
basically?
like at the moment, like yeah, unless you guys are doing something in particular, like.
I think considering Big Cat is getting more and more unnerved and could potentially cause serious problems, I'm going to cast Fly on me and Big Cat.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm going to
Big Cat's
grip
pretty
his
smart.
fur.
Yeah.
And then just make sure he doesn't do anything crazy like fly off directly upwards.
Well, I make an animal handling check because like
Okay.
when you cast it, you reach over and touch
He
Big
gone.
Cat. Because Big Cat's smart. Like Big Cat's got like an intelligence of 8. I think he's as smart as Sentry. He knows, and he's like, I can fly, and then he's immediately gonna want to go into the air so that he's away from the water.
Uh-huh.
I'm literally
Two.
going to say, you can fly now. to him.
Are you holding on to Big Cat,
Yes,
Lucius, or are you?
that's what I
So
said.
the two of you whoosh fly up into the air because he pulls you up.
Big Cat. Where are you going?
Bad idea.
Lucius, what have you done?
That's a very good point. Big Cat is a crag cat, and they have a thing when you target them with spells.
What?
Yeah, non-detection.
Oh.
No, they've got. It's another thing, Sentry. It's the spell reflection. Spell turning. The cat has advantage on any saving throws against any spell that targets only the cat. If the cat's saving throws succeed, so it's only on
It's
harmful
not a saving
effects.
throw.
Yeah, it's not harmful effects. So like Big Cat knows that you're not trying to hurt it, and so yeah, you fly up into the air. That's fine. Thalia
Fine.
can like pull herself into Sentry's boat. Now that the two of you have left, Big Cat and Lucius have left, Thalia can pull herself up into Sentry's boat. What are you going to do about these fish though? They're not shifting. Like the half of them all got scared away by Nova illusion. You can try and just like outrow them, but they're big fish. Like they're going to be able to swim pretty fast.
I mean, seeing
Can
they
I-
are rocking the boat and that Nova splashing scared some of them off, I want to fire some Wand of Magic Missile into the water near them to kind of disperse them and send them outwards away from the boats.
How many
'Cause
missiles?
It's force damage, but I want to do 5 missiles. Just kind
So
of
a third
around-
level. So like
Yeah,
2
just-
charges basically.
Yeah, just to like
Sure.
in a kind of a circle around it, just to disperse them. Like if I see a group of them heading towards the boat, I fire in front of them as they turn
Yeah.
around and leave.
Well, they're kind of all underneath the boat at the moment, but yeah, when you kind of fire the 5, these 5 missiles of energy kind of slam into the water and they make big, like, splashes, and like the energy would pass through the water partially as well. Like these are like, throwing like magic rocks basically into the water. It's enough that the fish are like, whoa, and then they just they will just leave. They will just disperse.
Nice.
Whatever interest they had in the boat, with the splashing woman that's like splashing around and like, you know, doing crazy stuff in the water to their mind, and these magic things dropping out of the air, like that's enough that these fish are like, whatever you are, they're not interested in it anymore. They're like, no, they swim off. They're just like normal fish. They were just interested in what this thing was. Yeah, and big cat is just flying towards land. He's just like, I'm going that way. Land is that way.
Forwards or backwards?
He's smart enough. He would be going forwards. He'd be going in the direction you were rowing.
Excellent.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Nice.
episode title. Tom said it. Rocking the boat.
Rocking the boat. Don't rock the boat.
Let's see what else happens in the episode first. But yeah,
No, nothing else. End it here.
Everyone
Done.
else in the boat, everything is fine. The rocking, the water stops splashing and rocking the boats. It kind of settles and calms once more, and you can just continue. I just need an athletics check for both Sentry and Ayla for the second half of the journey.
Okay.
Significantly lower DC for Sentry now.
Oh. Huge.
Nice.
25.
Oh,
Both fine.
huge.
You both managed to complete the journey. A little tired, arms a little
Plus
sore.
12.
For Sentry, you'd feel more like a draining of energy kind of through your body a little bit. Ayla just feeling a bit tired and a bit sore from all of that rowing. But yeah, you managed to get the boats to the side. With the flying speed of the spell, because it lasts an hour, right? Fly the spell?
10 minutes.
Oh, that's different. So what's... does it give you a 60-foot flying speed, yeah?
Yes.
So if they dashed, you would be able to go 120 feet, which is, I'd say 10 minutes would be, I'll say that's enough. Like Lucius and you basically reach, like Big Cat reaches the shore just as the spell's about to land, and he probably lands in the water like maybe sort of 15 feet from the edge, and then just furious cat paddles to the shore itself. You just go plummeting into the water and have to just swim basically to the shore. But if you chase after him, Quill and Kyrie.
I really like to imagine the sound that Big Cat and Lucius make as they plummet into
Very
the water.
similar noises. Yeah.
Quill, Kyrie's not gonna like when she realizes like she can't keep up with them. You can see Kyrie's getting tired. Like if you try and, but do you want to try and chase after Quill and Lucius? Like just burn rubber.
No, I'm good to stick with the group flying above the boat and watching out for anything else.
Yeah, because you can kind of rely a bit more on sort of like glides and dips to kind of ease off on some of the stress and strenuousness of the journey. You can also land in the boats now that there's a bit more space. If you or Kyrie need a rest, you can kind of sort of like fly down. It maybe takes about 30-40 minutes for the crew on the boats to reach the other shore, by which time you can see Big Cat is drying himself. He's like curled up on the far banks of this valley. I don't know what Lucius has managed to accomplish.
I'm trying to
40 minutes.
reason with Big Cat. It's like, look, I panicked, okay? And I thought this would be a good idea. Look, we're on land now, see? Here, let me dry you out. And I'll try and use prestidigitation on it.
Yeah. It's like a little blow dryer.
See, isn't that nice?
Big Cat likes
It's gonna
it.
be
He's
even
like,
fluffier.
yeah, he turns like his mane and he's like, wow, 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 wow.
Hey,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
like
the
a-
nicest you've been to me, Big Cat. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think like after you finish drying him, you get like a big lick on the face, and he kind of like nuzzles up against you.
I
then he sort of-
subtly prestidigitate my face.
No, I was gonna say Big Cat would he sort of gently takes your hand and then points at yourself. Like he kind of like pushes his paw against your chest kind of thing.
Yes, and I'll prestidigitate myself.
Yeah, Big Cat sort of like behind you trying to catch a little after wind as he likes it. So trying to catch it in his face like, I like it.
I'll just point them out in the distance. Look, they're coming now.
Wow. Just goes back to like preening himself. But yeah, the boats kind of skid up onto the shore of the lake, and you can pull them up out of the water. And you find yourselves in like there is like a river that still continues on. It feeds into the lake, but the current is coming into the lake, so you would be traveling upstream. But there is, hills, grassland, all kind of going back to a natural green, what you would expect in Aerois. Grassland and hills that seem to stretch on for a little bit.
Cool.
Just,
Ground is maybe a little
super
soggy.
quickly. Super quickly before we get to the shore, because my double is still active and can see and hear like while it's swimming around. Like, do I see anything like in the lake? Like, is there anything or just more fish?
Fish? Yeah, you see fish. You probably see some like I'm trying to think of like lake dwelling, maybe like some underwater insects, that kind of stuff. You can see that there are plants. The bottom of the lake is covered in these giant flora, like it's got giant sort of like seaweed beds and sort of formations and things like that. Not seaweed, because obviously you don't get those in a lake, but like lake water plants, you know what I mean, like that sort of stuff. But no dangers or creatures or anything like that, as the double sort of like swims around.
No ancient swords lost by a forgotten king that can, cure a curse by an archfey or anything
look
like
at
that.
that.
No.
Just right
None of
there.
them. Oh, look, shiny.
Seemingly not. Those of you traveling on the boats, you do notice some fish, not as big as the ones that were harassing the boat, but you actually see some fish with wings. They actually kind of come up out of the water, they fly up, and then there are these, I described them in the last episode, but above the lake there are these like floating rocks with like waterfalls, so like a kind of like endless river coming out of them. The fish fly up the waterfalls and into the pools at the tops of those rocks, and then they fly back down into the lake, and they seem to eat flies and stuff that are hovering above like the lake itself. And they're like feathered wings. They're like birds' wings on fish, and they kind of like.
I need to look at an image of that.
It's awesome.
Fish with wings.
Is there?
It's exactly what you think. I think it's just a fish with Pegasus wings.
Kind of, yeah. More like pigeon wings.
Well, we made it, and I think that's now everyone that has fallen into some water at some point in our journey. So, well done, everyone.
A very
with,
damp looking Thalia, who Thalia just literally is like wearing like a white shirt and a gun holster and some trousers, and she's just like not shivering, but she's like looking at you very sort of like, how fascinating. Excellent.
It's just nice to keep track, of our journeys and our foibles. Remember when Sentry fell into the water? You were talking about all my injuries earlier, and I'm trying to get back, and I can't, okay?
No,
I appreciate you
that's
too
fine.
much. Great. So, we carry on.
You two okay? Where did you go?
Wow.
you just went.
We soared through the air, we took in the majestic sights, and we landed perfectly on this land. Sorry for abandoning you all. It was a lovely trip, wasn't it, Big Cat?
Wow.
See?
Wow.
Well, I'm glad you're both okay.
You see Big Cat points a paw at the water and just goes.
He may have dipped a little bit.
Wow.
No, I saw that in the distance. Yeah, you really slapped into the water there.
Quill sees everything.
You saw that, huh?
Yeah, I know the spell you were going to cast. That was longer than 10 minutes, easily.
So does anyone want drying off?
Yes, I do, Lucius, please.
Thalia.
Just put out my hand
Thalia.
and
You
blow
might want
dryer.
to. You might want to avert your gaze, Lucius. I know that you get-
Sorry.
Yes. And then she kind of just stands in front of Lucius for a little bit and gets dry, and then eventually like rebuttons up and things like that.
You're finished. Right? Happy?
I don't own any bras. I'm sorry. I don't.
I didn't need to know that. I had no reason to know that.
I mean, you saw what I was like on the
I just,
ship.
like-
You know, you should know me by now.
Yes.
I like
Yes,
the
I do.
idea that like as it finishes and Lucius looks again, Nova's just stood in front of him, like where he thinks Thalia is, just like glaring.
You okay? You want some drying off?
I'm great, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for your help. It's done
Okay.
now. It's great. She's dry.
Oh, I've got
Nothing
some.
to see here.
Nope. Lucius walks away.
Kyrie will kind of walk over to Quill and be like, that was really good. I haven't flown that long in ages. It was actually quite nice to get to fly that much. I haven't flown in a long time.
You did great. You did amazing, in fact.
Thanks,
as
Quill.
long as you stay high up above any floating shadows and mysterious, scary things, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and just stay out of the way. I don't want to cause any trouble and get in people's way. So.
Oh, you won't get in the way. You're here to help, and we welcome it.
Thanks, Quill. And she goes over behind her. She goes behind. Goes
Okay.
to
Bye then.
She still. I think I described this when you first met Crary. It is a little weird because she still wears like she basically has like Shansara the Eladrin. She still wears like a T-shirt basically like with an image of Shansara on it. So like it's like you see this every time Kyrie's around. Yeah, she's like a little J-pop fangirl. So she has like this little kind of like Shansara T-shirt on, and yeah, when you look over, when you reach the other side, you see that the river continues on. The trees and the grassland seems, but you can already begin to smell the kind of stagnant water of a swamp. It's just on the air. You can kind of smell that very slightly brackish scent, very woodsy and wet coming along. The ground seems fairly firm here, but you can see the trees begin to change and grow. You see a lot more sort of is it willow trees that hang by water and stuff like that. You see more like willow trees and mangrove trees in the distance, kind of thing.
Okay.
Mangoes.
Yon Fen is
My mangoes.
one of the ways. Follow the river.
Follow the river down, up, down.
Through the swamp.
Ayla, you're more attuned with, land.
This.
Where are we going?
Can you smell the swamp? Follow
No.
your snoot.
I can't
It's that way.
smell.
Follow the river. It's that way.
You can smell the swamp?
It's that way.
Yeah?
We came across the lake this way. Why would we travel? It's that way. It's that way.
Okay, that way. Towards the
Okay.
swamp smell that I can smell.
Ayla, you and Quill, but Quill would know this as well. He's trained in survival. Yeah, if you follow the river, you'll come to a swamp. Like it's where the water can't drain properly and gets into the land and stuff. So, yeah. You guys continue on your journey, and eventually, following the river, maybe it kind of took you about half an hour to cross the lake. You are probably traveling along this river for a few hours. So do you have like a marching order for this? Is like Ayla leading the way, just kind of following the river? Are you sticking close to the water, or do you want to move more into like the trees and the shrubland? What do you want to do?
I'd say eye shot of the river, but not right next to it, because I don't think Big Cat will allow us.
Certainly doesn't like it. He'll go where you go, but he doesn't like the water. He won't go in it.
Of course. Yeah, I'll follow Ayla and Quill, who I assume are scouting and
Leading the way.
tracking.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm having a little looky.
Sounds good.
See what I can see.
So kind of keeping within eye shot of the river, but sticking
Like the
more into the
first row of
trees,
trees, I
and the
guess.
ground. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you'll probably travel for a few hours, like 3 or 4 hours this way. The ground begins to sort of around the 2 hour, 3 hour mark. The ground certainly starts to become a lot more squishy and moist and wet. The trees begin to shape. There is much more sort of humidity in the air. It becomes much more wet and humid and sticky. And you can hear the droning of insects coming from up ahead somewhere. And then almost immediately, it's very strange here in the Feywild, you are traveling through a kind of like very pleasant, traditional, woodsy, rivery kind of region. And then it's almost like there is a line drawn in the earth, because as you step through a bunch of trees, it just becomes swamp. You see thick mangrove trees with big heavy canopies, drooping vines, trees that kind of extend these long tendril-like branches into the water, and just this kind of muddy brown, blackish water that just seems to spread out. And this swamp looks huge, very similar to the trees, the blue woods that you arrived in when you first came here. And there is literally a little sign, sort of like maybe about 100 meters ahead. It's like almost like a tall signpost that you would see on a road. But rather than pointing in different directions, it is just a single piece of wood, and it has the kind of scratched into it. It just says Yon Fen.
Ugh, this is revolting. What happened? All of a sudden, just hit every sense all at once.
Well, that's just the way. This is the way that Lunaria can be. I think I mentioned to you before that certain regions are shaped; they're warped by the people that control them. Yon Fen is one such place. It's this land, so that the people, the creatures that sort of command this land, this is the environment that they thrive in. So this is what it becomes. But their influence will only stretch until it meets resistance by another being. Which is why you get these very strong borders, these very fine lines between places.
It's grim.
It's miserable, and it will be miserable traveling too. I mean, me and Irie, we can fly across it, and you guys can fly 10 minutes at a time, sure, but there was also the raft idea. We could find some raft to get across this somehow. Maybe?
How far out does it stretch? Like,
Far
is
as
it
you can see.
specifically over 500 feet? Yeah, okay.
The swamp? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ulster said this. I might be wrong. I think Ulster did say it's like 20-30 miles.
Yeah.
This swamp,
Miles.
it stretches out for.
20 I've
Yeah,
literally
this
got it
is
written in
like
my notebook.
it stretches out. So even like for Quill Tom, like you're not going to be able to fly over this whole thing. Like you need to stop and rest. You can't just continuously, fly forever. You need to take rests and stuff. So it just stretches out. Looking around, you can see that there are several trees. You don't see any kind of like settlements or buildings or rafts or anything in the immediate vicinity, but at the moment you're kind of stood on this firm ground, but you know that like within 3 steps this looks like you are going to be in like water. You're going to be wading through this swamp.
I think a raft
Speaking
of some
of-
sort is a good idea. Trudging is exhausting.
Speaking... Very exhausting, especially in this black goop. Speaking of needing quick rests, could we take a quick
it's break time.
rest while we ponder what to do? Because I won't lie, my bladder's exploding right now.
Yeah.
I just looked at the time and realized it was
Dying.
long past break. So yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. That's it. You guys go for your break.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break.
And when we're back, we're going to trudge through a swamp on a raft.
Yay!
We're building
Time.
ourselves.
Time.
It's a crafting episode.
It's a crafting episode.
You're gonna read some
it's
things
just
out,
like
Thomas?
Minecraft.
Or do you need a
I am
P2?
indeed. No, I do not need a P2.
He just goes
That's what-
constantly.
That's what the
Let's
adult
go.
diapers are for.
PlayStation 2.
And I've gone. So,
still
I
here.
need to say thank you to donations and subs from last week, which was a pre-recorded episode. So we weren't able to
yes.
get to them. So I will read them now. These may be in relation to costumes and things. If you haven't seen them, now is the time to check. But last week, we had a message from Dust Runner for a $250, and they say, thank you for all the years of fun. VOD Squad again, but in case it's another sad Halloween episode, remember, a smile better suits a hero.
I don't care about him.
Nah, I don't really care about him, but when he said it, it was cool. Icy Black,
It's a cool line.
Aegis. Hi, rollers. I hope you're having a good day. I would just like you all to know the love story is the biggest part for why I stay. So, Mark better make it spicy. Just kidding. Roll high and have a good day. Thank you very much. Icy Black, Aegis. I'm going to move this to another screen so I can read these better. S. Whitcomb, 93. Don't worry about the language when my 2.5-year-old watches. Good. She hears worse on a daily basis from her father. She has started saying, damn you, when I lock her out of the bathroom for privacy. Love you guys. Clear skies, clear sunny skies from South Dakota. Well, I'm
Damn
glad to
you.
hear that. But we are saying worse and damn you at times.
We're still sorry.
We say bloody and heck sometimes too.
Sugar, fudge.
Cock. No, wait, that's bad. Pendcast has donated with, you guys are the greatest. No doubt if I had 3 wishes, one of them would be used to make Aerois into an animated series. That would be one of my wishes too.
Pretty damn cool.
Varys, Pretty damn cool. Varys has donated with no message as usual. Thank you very much, Varys. Viking Fungus, smashing Halloween turnout. High rollers. Yes, Tom, even you.
You nailed it, buddy. I was very pleased. I was very happy.
Thank you very much. Can't believe how amazing you all looked, even in backup costumes. Yeah. Loving the Feywild arc so far. Penitent Princess's Perilous Plight puts party in Panoply Pandemonium. More 11. Please no more of that.
Very good.
Thank you very much. And BWC. These ones are from today. BWC with a half hundo. Thank you very much. And it says, "Call for me, Tom. Call." Thanks. And hashtag VOD Squad Best Squad. It was in the donation. I read anything that's put in front of me. I'll do anything for money. And I'm doing a quick
who would say
refresh.
something like that? What a capitalist pig.
Weird. Scuba Dude with a half hundo as well. I was gifted a sub by Recall while catching up on VOD Squad, currently at episode 80, so I decided to pay it back tenfold. Thanks for keeping me entertained on my drives to work. Trot and Tom, you are my favorites. Much love, and I'll hopefully watch live soon. I look forward to it. Scuba Dude, thank you very much for a very generous donation.
Thank you very much.
Durin VI Deathless, maybe, with a quarter hundo. I discovered High Rollers a month ago, rewatching the entire Aerois campaign, currently on episode 59. Almost nice.
Holy crap.
Please leave me a message for future me. Love you. You guys inspired me to play D&D. Tonight I'm playing my 4th session and soon hosting the third session in my homebrew world. It does say 3rd session.
Nice. I love a good 3rd sesh.
Well, I look forward to seeing you catch up to you today, Durin, and we'll see you in the future, hopefully, as well. Russie666 Omega with $33 dues. Just want to say thanks to all you lovely people. You've got me through some tough times and have inspired me to go out and find some new games to play in. Here's to more good times to come. Thanks again, and clear skies. Amazing. Thank you very much, Russie. Mr. Altissimo with a quarter hundo. Hey all. Absolutely going to pick up one of those dice scrolls. In my headcanon, I would like to think I got the last Reynard pin, but who knows? I know, Mr. Altissimo. I know. They weren't selling like hotcakes. You got the last one. Mark's favorite, Boba Fetty Wap, is back with...
I do like that name.
Finally free of VOD Squad and watching live for the first time. Welcome. Also, last time I donated, Mark laughed at my name. How rude. There you go.
It's a funny name.
It's a funny name. Stupid Sexy Centaur with a quarter hundo. Rosemeadow gets a splendid centaur-centered subplot to discover her mysterious ancestry. Hang on, is this a tongue twister? It sounds like a tongue twister. Rosemeadow gets a splendid centaur-centered subplot to discover her mysterious ancestry. Superb. So pleased the squad visited an assembly of considerate centaurs so soon. Once again, you satisfy my centaur obsession. Hard mode, Medusa Thalia voice. Rosemeadow gets a splendid centaur-centered subplot. Oh my god, my mouth is drying out just trying to say that.
Yep.
Skyrim Witch has donated. I miss Max. Totally ship Max Aquilian. Me too. Thank you very much.
Well, make it happen then. Make the first fucking move.
I'm down to fuck. Also, last week...
Do it then, coward!
Fuck, coward. Last week, we had some gifted subs from Being Wolfie, a quarter hundo of gifted subs from Jaylee5397, Randomir Kitty, Recall with 100 last week, Max the Menace, M23 Ward, MK13 Wolf with 20, Olivia 3, J Danger 87, Phoenix Willow, Crispy with 10, So Wizalot and Saramana, all gifting subs last week. Amazing.
Thanks for gifting subbies.
There were bit donors last week from Trumpole, Baron Von Genki, and So Wizalot, and it said congrats on 100k YouTube subs, and a Yog Dono from Honor Envy. That was last week. Sorry, I didn't read those earlier. I feel like I'm just everything I say is now full of S's and hissing sounds now. That ruined me.
I want you to remember what Tom said. If he doesn't fucking flirt and ask Max out on a date, then you know he's a filthy liar and a coward. So I just want you to be aware of that.
I also want you to be aware that I was not picking up what Kyrie was putting down in that last conversation, or at any point.
Well, she's like you're a birdman and she's a harpy.
I'm 3 years old.
Yeah. But if you want that Maximilian, then you got to put some effort in, son, because you ain't putting none in at the minute. Let me tell you that. Nova put the effort in, and she paid out. All right.
I'll go a nice girlfriend now.
Oh,
she's gonna die in like 2 weeks, but
for some reason I thought you were talking about Starbane. I don't know why.
No, he told me never to call him again, otherwise he was gonna kill me. That went nowhere.
You got to get in there real quick before Sentry and Max have, their inevitable paladin pal fight, and one of us is gonna go. So.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't know about this, but I'm excited about it now.
I'm just gonna write that. I'm just gonna put that in there.
Yeah. No.
I feel
Max
Sentry wants a fight.
You're my friend and you're my lover.
I feel it in my future. The drama.
I'll be the squire for both of you. Don't fight over me.
Whilst everyone is stuffing their face or Tom's about to go have a fat vape, I'm going to remind you all about the amazingness of D&D Beyond and our other sponsor, Tertial and Eleanor. I'm going to do this one first. If you have read Sabriel, one of the fantasy book of all time by Garth Nix, and you enjoy the Old Kingdom, then by goodness, you need to read this, because this is the prequel about Sabriel's parents. And if you've never read the Old Kingdom series before, this is a great book to begin that journey with, because this explains all about the Old Kingdom, about the Abhorsen, and about the fantastical world that Garth Nix has created. And they are an incredible sponsor. We love fantasy books. They are a great source of inspiration, whether you're looking for your next D&D character or building your own next homebrew world. Most of my ideas come from fantasy books or TV shows or movies or anime. So more you read, the more inspiration pool you have to draw from. And I do highly recommend this. I read Sabriel. I loved it. I can't wait to read this one and learn more about the world and learn more about the characters. But yeah, if you want to check that out, check that out. And then, of course, D&D Beyond. I mean, there is literally no finer online tool for Dungeons and Dragons, whether it's building characters, whether it's running combat and encounters, whether it's just looking something up quickly on the fly. D&D Beyond is literally a lifesaver for me every Sunday. I use it every week. I love it. It's a huge part of my prepping, that I do all my prep in. I literally can't imagine playing D&D without it anymore. And I mean that literally, not just saying literally. I actually literally mean that. I don't think I could do D&D without it anymore. So there you go. Both amazing sponsors. Links in chat and in the video description. Go and check them out. If you support our sponsors, that supports us. It's a great way. Just click the link, buy the book, go and get a subscription on D&D Beyond, whatever it is. You get something cool. It shows us support. You support these great companies that are working with us. Everybody's a winner. Everybody's a winner.
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's for sure.
I was waiting for you to come off me. I was just sort of like, just going to stare blankly into the camera. I was trying so hard not to blink for fear of Chris Trott making a new slow blink. I'm
not the guy I used to be.
No, you're not. You're not.
Right, we'll probably do it.
It will be that guy. Katie, do you want to do a very quick reminder about merch just before we jump back into the game? Tell people what they could get. They can pre-order next week.
Next week you can pre-order these dice that come in this beautiful scroll.
That's like a cool leather scroll. Katie, where's the dice?
It's not real leather, just for anyone who's concerned about that. So scroll rolls out, beautiful artwork,
rolling tray.
The dice are in this lovely little pouch here, and you can get some lovely Siaska's Cradle inspired dice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is our pre-order item. You can also get Starbane pin, limited run, second run for him. Siaska pin coming
brand
soon. And then a relaunch of a new and improved Christmas jumper, which Rhiannon is wearing and Trot is wearing right now. Fantastic.
Bum, bum, bum,
Look at that
bum.
quality.
You need it for
Wonderful.
Christmas Day. You're there,
You need
your
it.
family's all gathered, you got your Christmas
Yeah.
dinner, you're opening presents. You're wearing the best Christmas jumper out there, the High Rollers Christmas jumper. That's what you want. I wear it. It's my Christmas jumper. I put it on every Christmas.
Yep. So that is launching next Sunday, the 14th of November at 4 p.m. GMT.
Yes.
So we
And
are
the
now
dice
on
set is a
GMT.
pre-ordered. So if you pre-order it,
It's a
you'll
pre-order.
get one. And that's how it will work, right? So you pre-order one.
That's how
and then-
pre-orders work.
That's
That's how it works.
That's
Well,
how
there is
shops
still going to
work.
be a limited amount. It's
Oh, there's
just
a limited
that
stock. That's right. Yeah.
There's limited stock, but yeah, we're hoping that they're going to arrive by Christmas. We'll let you know if it's going to be a slightly delayed. It depends where you are in the world, but the aim is to pre-order with the intent to get them to you by Christmas.
There you go. Bam.
Go to the store, put money in, and you'll get a product out of it. Is
Yeah,
how it
that's
works.
how it works.
And
how it
Rhiannon's
works.
got a lovely
Otherwise,
Starbane coffee
it's
mug.
fraud.
Still available. Available now. Not limited.
Evil cough.
Ding.
Evil.
But tasty.
Well, no, he's absolutely lawful evil. It's
evil.
it's just it's
Hot coffee,
it's
anyone?
lawful coffee.
What?
Lawful
Nice.
coffee. Nice. My Gengar shirt is not a High Rollers merchandise item, so you cannot buy that. But it is a cool shirt. Right. With that, shall we play some D&D?
Let's play some D&D.
Let's-
D&D. So, after being given some supplies and having a discussion with Rosemeadow, picking up a few minor magic items, you guys have begun the journey to try and assist Rosemeadow in reuniting with her family, what is left of it, learning the truth, understanding this tragic tale, as well as perhaps freeing the Rosemeadow branch family from this captivity that they have been forced into by these evil spirits. You have traveled across the Everclear Lake, which is where you camped with the Centaur families. A little bit of some mundane difficulty traveling across it, but overcome with people just a little bit wet and none worse the wear. You have now arrived at a swamp called Yon Fen, which stretches out for some distance. That's where we left things off.
And the quickest way, we think, would be to raft it, right? But no raft in sight.
No raft in sight.
But tree.
No raft in sight.
No raft, but tree.
Many
Three
trees.
main
Many,
raft?
many trees. Many, many trees. Are you trained in carpentry?
Yes.
We're not
It
making
says so.
carpets. Holy shit.
That
We're
laugh.
not coming back from that. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not coming back from that.
Clip it.
Yeah.
Which clip?
Crikey.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
you have a big swamp.
Mm.
Got to get across it.
Mm.
Okay, now do we spend some time trying to make this tree and maybe that tree and maybe that tree over there into some kind of raft that would carry all of us, including a very heavy sentry and a very big cat and Rosemeadow? No offense.
Centaur.
It's a big ask.
Mm.
Or, now Lucius, I know you won't like this one. The alternative is
I don't
to
like it.
trudge through the swamp.
Well, it may be our only option, other than those that can fly.
It
I-
goes for a long time, remember, and flying is not necessarily. Actually, wait, can't you walk on? You can walk on water, right? You
I
walk
don't know
on
what this
swamp.
count says, I'll be honest, and I'm worried about trying it. But I can give it a go.
Partially water. It's just heavy,
gonna
sticky water. Goopy
Really
water.
with trepidation, sheer panicked trepidation, I'm gonna dip a foot into the swampy bit and see if I have purchase.
The foot has purchase on the water. It is water. It is still
I
mainly
can walk
water.
on it. But that doesn't benefit us all, but it does mean I won't get so stinky, which is nice.
Very important matter.
Hmm.
It offers no actual advantage other than Lucius will not be wet and
I
stinky.
won't have stinky boots.
But that's what's important. That's important.
It is, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
It
I
does.
like
Morale
it.
is going to get us through this swamp, and my
It
morale
does
is just
also-
boosted.
I guess he can also walk at a regular speed, right? Rather than...
He can, but the group obviously will still be slowed. So as a
Right.
group, it's kind of more based on your group speed rather than an individual's.
Now,
Nova, I don't suppose you still have any scrolls of water walking? Wait, was it water walking that we had way back
breathing,
when?
my love, breathing.
So
So if you end up in it, you could breathe in it, but I don't think you want me to press your face into it. So
No.
no.
If
I don't
only I
think so.
prepared water walk.
Clerics can do that, you know. Clerics can prepare spells.
now,
Yeah.
Sentry,
Uh-huh.
you have a whole belly of souls.
Yeah,
Can you
Where is this
speak to
going?
them?
I can speak to Rue.
I'm wondering if you have a pool of knowledge here on how to fashion a raft. There's got to be one guardian out there that understands how to put wood together and make something that floats on water.
Guardians did perform a variety of huge tasks. I'm sure there's probably someone in there that knows.
And maybe Root can connect you to one and provide us a starting point at least so that we can chop down some trees and fashion it together.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm thinking off the top of my head. We're in the
That's a
Fae as
great
well.
idea. Why not use the knowledge that I have inside me?
Yeah, I mean, they
Okay.
normally have names of jobs, so try and find raft maker swamp crosser.
There's probably a carpenter.
All that.
I
All
mean,
that.
Shipbuilder.
Yeah?
For your knowledge century, you'd basically be using your commune charge of the matrix, but you would basically be asking Brute, can a guardian share knowledge with me?
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll
I
find
know
out
Kung
once
Fu.
you've used it.
You can do
We'll
that,
find
yeah.
out when you've activated commune.
All right. Yeah, Sentry will go find a nice dry patch of grass next to a tree and like get
Yeah,
all
where you
comfy on
kind
the
of-
ground.
Back the way you came, you can kind of step in where the ground's much firmer and solid and stuff like that, and find like a little bit, probably like some toadstools, big toadstools to sit on.
Yeah,
it's
somewhere
a
nice and comfy,
Feywild after
lean up
all.
against a tree. Yeah, he'll go into
Yeah,
the
you feel your presence kind of drift once again, and then you feel that amber river, that kind of current of energy pick you up, pick up your soul effectively, and drift. You begin to hear the ambient noise, the kind of walla of a crowd of all these different guardian voices speaking at once. But there is this one larger looming presence who kind of speaks to you. Sentinel Prime, how can I help?
Hi, Root. So I was wondering, is it possible to ascertain knowledge from other guardians?
Ah, it is. This is something I only attempted a few number of times when I was Prime, but it is possible. It will be a new experience for you, but it is something that I think I can help you with. It will drain some of the energy from the Prime Matrix, but it is possible.
Well,
This-
that's great.
It will last a period of time. It will not be permanent, this knowledge. It will drift from your mind slowly, but it is possible. What sort
Okay.
of knowledge do you require?
We're at a bit of a crossroads, so we need to cross a marshland or a swampy area, but we need the knowledge to build a raft to get everybody across. There's quite a number of us.
I believe that a number of carpenters and boatswains can be located that would be able to assist you in this. They will be able to grant you their knowledge, their expertise in building and crafting these things, as well as just general information that you require.
That's amazing. That'll be a huge help. That'll speed things up quite a lot.
Very well. Then for this first period, for this first time, I will act as a conduit. You speaking with me will provide the necessary energy for us to transfer the knowledge. But in the future, you should be able to make this sort of connection yourself. It may take some time to learn, but it is something that we can practice together in the future. But for now, allow me to act as a conduit for you.
Okay, thank
And
you.
you find this energy, the essence of Root Prime kind of stretches out until it locates like maybe 7, 8, 10 different guardian spirits. And then you almost feel like lines, like tethers kind of connecting you to them. And flashes of information, kind of way too quick for you to follow, kind of flash in your mind, and then the communion ends, and you find yourself back in the kind of forest near your allies. But until you finish another long rest, you basically have proficiency in carpentry tools. Like you have proficiency in the tools you need to build this kind of stuff. To accomplish the task. And then what I'll do is I'll upgrade the Prime Matrix so that in the future there'll be an option to spend a charge to basically gain a tool proficiency or a skill proficiency for a period of time.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because it makes sense, right? Like I really like the idea that you can dial in and find a guardian who had a certain skill or an area of expertise, and you can draw in their memories and experience into yourself for a brief period of time.
What a cool idea. Thanks, Trot.
Cool.
That's a
Very
good idea.
Very cool idea. That was a great idea, Trot.
Hey, it's all Root, not me.
Oh no, that was very much you. But yeah, so like essentially you kind of come out of it, and there's a couple of things. So like the knowledge that you've acquired is really how to build boats, and like how to like cut wood and shape wood and things like that, like carpentry skills and building boats and things like that. The first thing you know is this will take a good chunk of time. Like, even to build a pretty simple raft, even with yours and Ayla's immense strength and, like, everybody kind of helping you, this is going to be good few hours of work. Like, maybe even, like, half a day's work to, like, construct a stable, supported raft. You have enough, like, generic supplies, like ropes in your inventories. You would all have to give that up, and, like, you'd basically be using that to, like, tie all the logs and stuff together. You've got spells that can use as, like, functions to kind of help bind the raft and stuff together. But you're going to be probably looking at, like, 6 hours work here to build a raft.
Okay.
I mean, considering the travel time and I assume exhaustion, it's worth it, right?
30 miles of swamp trudging. Yes, I think so. We'll provide all the labor we can provide. Sentry, you just tell us what to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think what Sentry would do as well is she would cast create food and water. So everybody's got like a food and water station. So if they need to take breaks, they can go over there and like
Nice.
have a little break area.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I love it.
Can we do like little min-maxy things of like using acid splash to kind of corrode the tree that would be chopped to make it a little easier to chop down, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that you can even accomplish this in the first place is I'm assuming you're going to basically use all of your skills and equipment and abilities to make this happen. I think that, like, not just speed it up, but even just make it possible, right? It's only because Ayla and Sentry are both not just enormously strong, but, you know, have boundless endurance that they can sit there and chop down trees like that. These, because again, this is the Feywild. These aren't like normal trees. These are like thick, huge, you know, incredibly dense, tough trees. Then you're like using the acid to like weaken them, and like I'm assuming like Nova's probably helping engineer like a system of ropes to like bind everything together, and you know, like everybody's kind of working together, right, to do this. So
Nova's doing all the buoyancy math. It's like surface area needs to be this wide to carry this much weight, blah blah blah.
I've drawn an entire blueprint. Here you go.
Yeah, I think like with Sentry's knowledge that she's gained from these boatswains and carpet, like the boatswains especially, like like Nova can like do the math and be like, yeah, we need it to be approximately sort of like 10 foot by 10 foot, and it needs to have this, and we need a control system, you know, even if that's just Ayla or Sentry with a big stick, right? That's, you know, something to push the raft along, but that's, you know, we can make it easier by tying these things on the side, and we can do this and this and this and this and blah blah blah. But yeah, so if that's what you guys want to do, it takes you about 6 hours to like basically cut down the trees, put everything together. And I would say that the people doing the physical labor, so this would probably be Ayla, Sentry, and Rosemeadow. I need you guys to make a Constitution saving throw just to see how tired you get.
Does everybody get a +3 on that?
So I know that your ability says that they get the bonus to all saving throws, but because this is like a physical tiredness thing, I'm going to say that your aura doesn't necessarily help with this. This is just like the limits of their body, basically. This isn't like a foreign force trying to affect them, so.
Okay, cool.
I rolled an 11, so 21 total.
Jesus Christ.
We got a +10
And then
con save.
Yeah. 15 for Sentry. Rosemeadow looks very tired. Like, she is going to gain a level of exhaustion. I rolled a 4, and even with her plus 2, it's only going to be a 6. So Rosemeadow, like, she's been like carrying like the things on her back because she's like a horse, right? Like, so she can like load up the planks and travel them to where you're building the raft. And like, she just looks knackered. She looks really tired. A long rest will get rid of that, but she has got 1 level of exhaustion for now. Oh my god. I just need a bit of time. Just really sweaty. It's just like dying.
Grab a drink. Go to the food station. Get yourself a drink. Have a snack.
And goes over and has like food and takes a load off and stuff. But yeah, and after about 6 hours, you have a thing. Tom Hazel, can you roll a D4 for me, please?
Sure. What's the D for? 2.
About 2 hours into building this raft, Quill, you look back at the swamp and you realize the water level of this swamp fluctuates. The water level has dropped, and after like in 2 hours, it's dropped significantly to the point where a raft would get stuck. And then after about another 4 hours, it goes back up to like the high tide, but it seems to fluctuate.
Okay, so towards the end of building this thing and ready to go, it's at the high point again.
It's at the high point again, yeah.
Okay. So do I know how long it would take to travel across this entire thing with a raft of some kind?
Using the travel pace rules from the player's handbook, yes. So if you are moving at a normal pace, which we will assume the raft moves at a standard pace of 30 feet, it will approximately take, you can travel about 3 miles per hour on that. So if it's 25 miles in like 8 hours, you can do. If it's 30, you'll obviously be a bit longer than that. If you can keep it moving at the standard movement pace.
It's going to take us a day.
If you are slowed, if you are like, if it becomes slower, like if you have to move at half speed for whatever reason, obviously that drops your per hour time to 1.5 as well. So it will slow down the travel.
Right. But at certain points, every 2-3 hours or so, the water is significantly lower and the raft will get stuck.
Seems to be.
I have a slight adjustment maybe for this raft. The water here is rising and lowering a lot more than I'd expect. At certain points, maybe if we leave now, we maybe get 2-3 hours of travel, but then we'd need to either stop or
you could try and drag the raft. Yes, that will be tiring work, and it will slow you down, but you could bring it with you on like in the lower water, muddy. Because when you saw that the water got to its lowest point, it left behind like a kind of very sticky like mud flat, basically. Like the water almost completely drains away, and it looked sticky and gross, and again quite difficult to travel through. And
I suppose there's no edge to this. It's not like a river where we can just go to the side and find dry land. This is just open swamp forever. I
mean, certainly for miles. But the thing is I'm assuming that 28 miles or 30 miles to travel is assuming you are just going straight ahead. If you wanted to skirt the sides and try and stick where there might be land and stuff like that, you could do that. That could be double, triple the amount of time to get across the swamp. Yeah. I'm assuming you're going the shortest possible route, which is direct forwards.
Yeah. So, I mean, we will travel easier with the raft for a time, and then there's going to be a time where we're going to be, well, either trudging or resting for another couple of hours until we can carry on. It does mean it's going to take longer to cross, maybe, but it'll be, well, much less exhausting.
Yes.
Is there a way we could perhaps speed things up while the tide is high? So maybe, is there a way we could use rope to create some kind of pulley system where someone could go ahead, throw the rope over a tree, and we could pull it?
I can walk on swamp. I can pull it.
Okay.
With the slippy slidiness of water, it shouldn't be that heavy to pull as long as we've got momentum.
You're still gonna have the weight of everybody on the raft, though.
Well, slippy
It'll
liquidy.
make it easier. It will make it easier, but it will still be pretty tough. It will still be you'll need to be pretty strong to pull it off.
Yeah, you'll be pulling a raft across. Well, it will be stuck in what little water there is.
This is when it's at high tide, as in like high water to make it faster for those periods.
Oh, you pull it for the duration that we are floating?
Yes,
Yeah.
just to assist.
Possibly. I was thinking we try and find some way of making a sail, but then we're getting into boat territory here.
And yeah, also keep in mind that because you're surrounded by trees, there is wind, there is breeze, but it's not like out on the
Open
ocean
waters,
ship.
yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
open water.
I'm
Strength.
guessing just casting gust into it every 5 seconds is not the way.
Gust isn't going to be strong enough. Gust is only a cantrip. Something like gust of wind, which is like it creates like a big column of wind for like a period of time. That could certainly help.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Well,
So it's just a question of how much time do you want to spend traveling across this thing? I think floating for as long as we can, getting down swamp, and then resting for a couple of hours until it's
High
suitable
water
enough
again.
again is probably the strategy. It would just take a while.
it's
We'll
far
have to
quicker
take
than
maybe
walking.
3 or 4 rests. Yes.
Yes, so if that's our only option. We can see the situation when we take our first rest, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or we could whip a couple of wheels on this raft.
You could try and
Okay.
make some wheels.
Do
Wheels.
you know how to put wheels on
mud.
this?
Go on, Kim. What are you going to say?
No, I had an idea of maybe casting Leomund's tiny hut on the raft so that when we're resting and stuff like that, like it's kind of like a safe little, just like a little safe. It won't help in the movement of the raft or anything like that, but just creating a little safe house like while we're resting on the raft,
I mean,
like.
Stuff like Leomund's tiny hut is a great whilst you're resting spell for sure.
Hell yes.
It lasts 8 hours and it's a 10-foot radius immobile dome of force. the
Immobile
only thing
dome.
is-
So if you put it on the
Yeah,
raft, it
yeah.
won't move with it.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's
Forget
like
that.
if you, because also, I mean, even like if you travel for 8 hours, like of walking, that's even if on the raft, like even if you travel for 8 hours, like you're probably still going to want to rest somewhere. Something like Leomund's tiny hut is going to be a great boon for just
It
when you
could
want to take
be,
a long
yeah.
rest. Like
At the
for
end
sure.
of our travel, we do
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
to prepare ourselves for the traumatic next step.
Also, what time is it like now? We spent like an hour getting across the
Like,
lake, and then
you did,
6
and then
hours
it's about
building
6
this.
hours, so it's 7 hours from when you woke up. So if we say about,
I wake up at 3 a.m.?
Quick math. It's about 3 p.m.
Okay.
So, and here in the Feywild, like I'm gonna give Quill that and say that like being a messenger and your very high, perception and stuff like that, you realize, oh, okay, I can't really track the sun and the moon here because when you moved into this swamp, it's almost like it became like nighttime, but it's not nighttime.
Right.
It's like the light changes, like the ambient level of light completely changes depending on which province you're in, and like tracking time is very difficult here. But you can count the number of hours since you've been awake, and if this were to be like normal daytime, it'd be about 3 p.m.
I have an internal
There is
bird
still
clock.
night and day cycles, but it's just that the ambient level of lights and there's no sun to really track and stuff like
It's
that.
just miserable here.
It's pretty miserable. It's pretty miserable.
Okay, but we're looking at about maybe 12 hours of traveling with stopping and going again, and stopping and going again.
Is the raft 10 foot?
It's about 10 feet by 10 feet. And that's like, I'm sure that somebody's going to be like, a raft 10 foot by 10 foot could never possibly hold all that many people and blah, blah. I'm sure that that's going to be the case. This is magic fey trees. So a 10 foot by 10 foot raft is enough for everyone to sit on it and to float. So
Because I'm floating the idea of maybe doing
Nice.
Arcane Gate at least once, which is a 10 foot in diameter portal. circular 10-foot in diameter portals. So
They can go up to, what, 500 feet?
500 feet. So that could at least give us a little bit of a...
Kim, I'm going to tell you this. Like, 500 feet in terms of mileage, not very big. It's like, it's not going to shave off a lot of time. But it might be a good, if you get into a sticky situation, I would say maybe Arcane Gate's a good one to, like, save for that. It's because it's not going to help you in cutting the travel time.
Yeah.
The travel time is, like, nothing. It's going to do, like, 10 minutes instead.
An Arcane Gate will get us 1/316,000th away closer.
There you
Also, we can do a whole...
I think it's just the... I was just going to say, I think it's when I run 500 feet, it feels like miles.
it feels like miles.
Where that came from.
I get that.
So, yeah.
Also, keep in mind, like D&D travel rules and stuff, it's all a bit wank. So don't I've told you how long it will take.
Wishy-washy.
Yeah, it's pretty wishy-washy, but those are the rules. That's what we got to work with. So, because I don't know how long it takes to travel 3 miles, so I wouldn't know.
But yeah, we'll have to see where we stop when the tide lowers, rises, or whatever else, and figure out what to do on each stop.
So, with that in mind, and to progress things forward, if you were traveling by foot, I was going to have you guys basically establish who is going to be leading you, basically trying to navigate hazards and find a path through this swamp, which you don't know. None of you are familiar enough. You're going to need to try and navigate this. And then you need to also have somebody act as a lookout. Now, the way I was going to do this in terms of travel rules is you need somebody to be the pathfinder, who is basically going to navigate for hazards, keep an eye out on what's in front of you. And then you're going to have a lookout, who is somebody at the back of the party who's basically watching out for enemies and ambushes and all that kind of stuff. A single character can do those roles for up to 4 hours, and then they need to break for 4 hours. So you can't just have one person do it the whole journey, right? Somebody does it for 4 hours, they have to swap with somebody until they can do it again. And I was going to have you do that. If you're all on the raft, you're not really going to have one person out ahead. You're not really going to have one person behind. You're all going to be clumped together. You're still going to need to make these checks, but you're going to all be more clustered together, really. Unless you want to have somebody like Lucius who can walk ahead and try and help pull the raft, or walk up ahead and try and scout and things like that.
Yeah, I might try and do that just to make sure that we have a clear path ahead of us. We're not going to bump into any branches sticking out the ground.
So you want to take that for the first 4 hours. You want to be the pathfinder, as I've called it.
I'll walk on the swamp.
Okay,
waters.
right. So Lucius is going to be your first 4-hour pathfinder, and then who do you want to have as your lookout for the first section?
I will take the second watch. I think as we get deeper into the swamp, it might get more dangerous in there. So I'll happily take the second watch.
Well, I'll ask you to swap because it will need to be a rotating thing. So
yeah.
All right. Thalia's happy. Don't forget you've got the NPCs as well. Thalia's quite happy to keep a lookout. She's also happy to try and help navigate. Rosemeadow is happy to help either, push the raft. That's another point, actually, now that you guys have got a raft, you're going to need somebody basically pushing the raft along. Which I think we all know who the two candidates for that are. But Rosemeadow is also happy to help do that. She's she's stronger than she looks.
So she is exhausted at the moment.
Or
has
she
a level of
exhaustion. She has 1 level of exhaustion at the moment. Yes.
Okay.
So Lucius is the pathfinder. I need a lookout for the first 4 hours, and then who's going to push the raft?
Thalia could work for. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't mind.
Thalia's got +4 perception, so just
Maybe.
don't look at Nova though. She's dumb.
Yeah.
I look at Thalia and I see +4 above her head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if Ayla's pushing, then I can swap with Ayla.
Sure.
To
Okay.
push.
All right. In that case, then I need a survival check from Lucius as the pathfinder. I need a perception check from Thalia as the lookout, and I need an athletics check from Ayla for the. In fact, no, con save from Ayla.
18 plus 10.
You are fine. No exhaustion.
Jesus.
It does get harder the more consecutive you do it, but with +10, I'm pretty sure Ayla could paddle this for a week.
Yeah.
And it'd be fine. So we have an 8 on the survival for Lucius. Marvelous.
He goes out with just that optimism of and he's looking like this and putting his hand over his eyes, hands on hips. I'll go look for danger.
Tree. Sure. And then what did Thalia get on perception?
19.
19. Okay. So, can you roll a D8 for me, Chris Trott, please?
I certainly can.
And Tom Hazel, can you roll a D4 for me, please?
What's the... Yeah, okay, thank you.
Ooh.
2 for the D8.
1 for the D4.
1 for the D4. So, after about an hour, the water level drops down, and the raft basically comes to a complete stop in the mud.
Ayla's
1
just
hour.
like, no, I can still keep going. I can still do it.
Like,
I can
Ayla's
still
probably
do it.
like, you basically, Ayla, you're pushing this raft up until the moment where the raft basically just wedges into mud, and it's just like, and then just comes to a standstill. You don't know how long it's going to take for this water to come back up. You can wait, or you can press on.
Okay, that was a lot sooner than I expected, and I was hoping to get a lot more distance than we did. I mean, what sort of, like, the area around us? Is it still just miserable swamp forever?
Swamp. Yeah, like with the
don't
water
know.
drained, you can see with the water drained, you can see that all of these trees have these like spider leg like roots that kind of stretch out, like hundreds of them, creating these like little almost like little cages beneath them. And you do see like some strange looking creatures kind of rustle away as soon as the water's low enough. But otherwise than that, yeah, it's thick mud. Trying to move through it is difficult terrain. So if you try and like move through this mud, you are literally like pulling your boots up, trying to like slug along.
Do we want to rest here or find a way to carry on?
I could cast levitate on it, but it's only going to last for 10 minutes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we could.
If I was
no,
to-
it's useless.
Create a wall of ice, put it all sideways,
Oh.
and make it like a big slide. It could either destroy the raft at the end of it or get us further a bit.
I mean, how much of a wall can you make? So I think
10
it's like 100 foot,
10 feet.
10 feet cubed, so it's 100 feet long, the slide.
It would certainly gain some momentum and then slam into mud at the end of it.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Well, if we need to get somewhere fast, in a hurry, that's definitely a possibility.
I prefer Nova's idea of just levitating the raft. But
But I can only,
slip and
it's only
slide.
10 minutes,
10 minutes.
so I
It's
don't
not gonna get you super
see
far.
I don't see this last. Yeah, the tide doesn't look like it's going to come back in 10 minutes.
1 hour. That was barely any time. I guess we'll have to wait.
Could I cast enlarge and try and
Now, my next question is going to dramatically change this. Are you trying to carry the raft with everyone else on it, or are you just going to carry the raft and everybody else trudges through swamp?
You know what she wants to
I
do.
don't want to make him trudge. I ain't gonna make him trudge.
You can
Sentry
certainly,
magic carpet ride.
you can absolutely try, Sentry. Your size would be enough that the raft would be out of the mud and everyone can stay out of that. But yeah, you're going to need to make strength and constitution check.
How long does
Okay.
enlarge last?
That's another great question.
It says
I will
up
look it
to a
up.
minute.
A minute.
A minute. But I don't know
Just
if
throw
it's...
us.
Yeah, just...
If it's a minute, it's a minute.
Okay, it's a minute. Okay, never mind then.
You could help place us onto a
Love the
wall
idea of it.
Of ice slide.
Off you go.
I mean, I can try and pull the raft in the mud.
Yeah, that's the thing. You
for a
can
bit.
move through the mud. It's just hard.
I have a strength of 25.
All
I
right,
could at least do it for a while.
So we'll get our ropes out and pull.
Okay.
Group effort,
Sure.
everybody.
Honestly, with Ayla's, so as long as nobody else is on the raft, if Ayla is just dragging the raft itself, Ayla doesn't need, like, Ayla can do it. Like, it weighs enough that, like, with her strength, she can just carry it. It is gonna make, you're gonna basically it's gonna exhaust you. Like traveling with this thing for any amount of time, even as high as your constitution is, it will tire you out. But
That's the thing. Is it worth
it
doing
depends
that?
on how long you have to do it for. If you have to carry this thing for an hour, you'll probably be okay. If you have to carry this thing for 4 hours, that's probably gonna at least give you one level of exhaustion. But you don't know. But you can carry it without.
Can I carry
issue.
it for like an hour or so and then see when the tide
Yeah.
comes back? I don't want to
Absolutely.
give myself levels of
Of course, yeah,
exhaustion
yeah,
and hinder myself, but I
Yeah.
will carry it as far as I can.
Yeah, you could absolutely just carry it for an hour, see if anything happens. You could also swap with Sentry. Like Sentry, your strength's what, 20?
18.
18. You're at the very upper limit, but you can carry it. But again, you're going to tire a lot quicker than Ayla will. But you could carry it without any issues, without needing to make a check or anything
Take
like that.
turns.
Yeah. Do shifts.
Mark, my strength is 7. Could I carry it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think the only other person who could, like, Rosemeadow could try. She would need to make a check, and she would probably get tired after an hour, but she could try. Lucius could try. It would be a harder DC for him, but again, and he'd tire very quickly, but he could do it. Quill, what's your strength?
12, apparently.
12. Again, same like Lucius. You could do it. It would just be, yeah, you'd get tired very quickly. I think your strength went up when you got the mechanical wing back, I think.
Could we reduce our DC if me and Quill pull it at the same time?
Yep, you could. It would, you'd be able to carry it for longer with a less exhaustion, with lower DC, but you would still need to make a check.
Can't we just make Big Cat carry it the whole way?
Big Cat is only just about as strong as Rosemeadow. So
Oh, okay. Well, still.
it's still strong. But
Let's
not
take
super strong.
shifts then.
Sure.
On pulling it. Make sure no one gets exhausted.
We can go an hour and see
Yeah,
how
I mean,
the
I'll
tide
take the
goes.
majority of
Sure.
it. Like,
Well,
because I can
If that's the case,
pull it for longer.
if Ayla's going to start pulling it and then see when the tide comes back, and when she starts getting tired, she like stops it or whatever. Tom Hazel, can you roll a d4 for me, please?
Yes, indeed. Oh my god, it's a 4.
So an hour goes by. Water still hasn't come back up.
I roll a 1 for our benefit and a 4 for a
Thank
negative.
you, Quill.
Yeah, you guys trudging through. Ayla, like, you're carrying this thing for an hour. You could probably go another hour before you need to make a con save or anything like that. But
We can swap at any time,
I'll-
Ayla.
I'll go.
She's not listening.
Another-
I
She's
got
in
it.
a-
I got it. I got
She's in
it.
the zone.
You carry it for another hour, trudging through the swamps, and you kind of see like things, like you can see like, you know, trees and bushes and like little. There are like mounds where like it's still muddy earth, but it does kind of seem to give you like a small piece of terrain to like stand on. But for the most part, it's mainly just like empty trees and sort of like troughs of like where maybe rivers once flowed and stuff like that. You do, however, you rolled a 2 on the D8, didn't you, Chris Trott?
Mm-hmm.
And you failed on your survival check. Lucius, you very quickly realize, like, leading the party, like Ayla, you can hear Ayla like heaving and dragging this like raft in the background. Thalia is like looking around, trying to keep an eye out. All of you, by the way, are moving at half speed as you're like trudging through this mud, so it slows you down immensely. Lucius, like, you've definitely lost track of, like, you think you were moving straight ahead, but you've definitely like veered off a little bit. You're worried that you're now traveling like at an angle. You're going to lose 2 hours of time, and eventually you come to a part where there is just this
Thalia's
solid
dead.
there is this like solid group of like trees that have grown into like a tangled mess, and they've almost formed like a barricade wall of thick roots. You're gonna have to double back if you want to, or you have to go through these wall of trees. So if you have a way of getting through them, or you have to double back and lose more
Lucius
time.
just comes back to the group. He falls to his knees in the swamp.
in the mud.
I pray for forgiveness. I am so sorry. I've failed you. Son is going to die on my hands.
Wait, what? 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 That last bit. What was that last bit? You can't.
I've wasted all our time. I thought we were going this way, and I just hit a wall of trees. I think we've veered off course.
Lucius, you saw where we were and you saw where we needed to get to. It's just stay looking in that direction. What happened?
Well, no, because it's not like it's all open terrain. It's not like there's a road going north. Like
We had to go
there are
around this
trees, you have
tree
to,
and
like-
then that tree.
Yeah,
and
you
I
have to
don't think
weave
we
it.
went back on course after a few trees. I lost track, and it's very tiring with my booties getting stuck in the swamp.
Ayla's gonna just drop the heavy raft. It's very tiring, Lucius. Is
I
it?
know,
Is
I
it tiring?
understand. Please, unleash all your torrent of hatred and anger. I deserve it.
Okay. Well, where do we go now? Do you have any idea of where we need to go now?
Rosemeadow just pats you on the shoulder. It's okay, Lucius. You tried your best. It's all right. You can't help it. And she's just like, kind of like let's wipe those tears. And she's like wiping your face with like a handkerchief and stuff.
I failed you, Rosemeadow. I was trying to be a hero, guiding us, but
It's okay.
maybe Quill should look.
Well, do you have any idea of where to go now? If you
Not the way we're going, unless we can get through that thick wall.
You're gonna need another survival check to get back on course here.
Well, that's the thing. Where do we need to go? Do we need to go through the trees or?
You either double back. You can see because Ayla's been dragging this raft. It has left a thick trail. Like you could double back and then get to where Lucius thinks he got lost, and then try and reorientate yourself. Or you can just try and find a way to break through this fence of roots and just then figure out from the other side of this tree wall.
Okay, I will try and find out if going through these trees is the option. It does mean we have to go through the trees, but I'll see which way is quicker, either doubling back or heading through.
Well, if we double back, I think it's only 2 hours ago.
What?
Excuse me, what was that last bit?
How long?
I think it was only
You're
baby.
carrying the raft.
You're
Carrying the raft. That's it.
You can mutter under your breath all you want. I can hear the words you're saying. It's
What's
2
it
hours.
That's 2 hours of raft time for you. That's what I heard.
2 hours.
2 hours of raft time.
Now wait, hang on, because
Why is it
remember,
saying 2
I would
hours?
have to help Lucius. I don't want to get pulled into that. It's punishment for me.
There must be a way through. Surely we can't go back for 2 hours.
Well, let me find out. Let me find out if the
Let me
route-
come with you. I'll see if I can find a
I
way
was going to
through.
go up,
I'm going to go.
Up
I'm
is a
just
good
going to go where
idea.
Lucius went.
back 2 hours.
The way
I vote
Lucius was
up.
going is
No.
literally you can't go the way Lucius wanted to go. Like that's where these tree roots have gotten you.
Can I try and scope it out and see if there's a way through?
absolutely,
Like a
yeah.
nature check?
Make a perception check. Yeah,
Perception.
nature or perception. I would say either one's fine.
Let's do -1 to nature. Why not? Let's do it. 17.
17.
Wow.
You think for a moment, Sentry, and you remember like strategy meetings and things like that of like fighting in different types of terrain and kind of like meetings like that. You haven't really traveled too much to places like this, like swamps, but it looks like these trees have they've kind of like grown together and their roots have intertwined into this fence. If you break through these trees, either by like smashing them or cutting them or whatever it happens to be, whichever way you manage to find a way to like break down enough of these roots that you can pass through them, you think that you could get people back on track and in the direction you want to go. Lucius has basically like veered you, probably only ever so slightly when he started off at a diagonal, but that's very quickly just curved off and you're now heading more to the west. You need to kind of reorientate, get past these trees and then reorientate yourself so you're heading north.
North. Okay. Nice. Quill, I don't know what you think. I've just had a look. There might be a way. We could smash our way through, break our way through the roots. I think it's doable. But if you... Yeah? Over?
Is it 500 feet worth of trees?
Oh, yeah, you could easily use Arcane Gate to get through it. Easy.
Yay.
But how does the raft get through?
The raft is
10 foot.
just
It's
big
10
enough.
foot in
Yeah, the
diameter.
portal of
Just,
Arcane
yes.
Gate is 10 feet. Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa!
It's just big enough. Just squeaky bum, but it'll be fine. Just grease it up a little bit.
Now, I will say there is some benefit. Because of Lucius's 2 hour delay, as you're having this conversation, the water level you feel is rising. It is beginning to lift the raft up.
We argued for 3 hours.
No. It was the travel time of when you kind of set out, and then the 2 hours that Lucius got
I
lost
see.
basically
Okay.
is equal the 4 hours. So the water level is like blub blub blub. You've got like a little bit of time before it's fully up, but
Look, if this is the worst of what we'll face, then you can use the arcane gate to get through, and we'll figure out later. Now we need to get back on this raft. We can float for the rest. Hopefully, we'll get some better luck with the water, Tom, and we can use the arcane gate to get through this. Sorry.
I would pull it through the arcane gate to make
Okay,
up
I'd
for
really
my...
like to actually watch that happen. That would be fun.
I can only keep the gate up for 10 minutes, so if you could pull it through in
It will
faster than 10
happen!
minutes, that
And
would
I'm
be
grabbing the rope.
great.
it's like,
Can I
because
watch
like I imagine
him
like
do
for
that
Ayla to do it
9
right,
minutes? And
like you
then
have like a
I'll
rope
step
harness. Yeah, you've got like a world's strongest man harness like around sort of like your shoulders and neck, you know.
Lucius takes off his cloak of billowing and folds it up neatly, but it's still billowing, so he struggles with that a little bit. He's trying to look like strong and macho, but
It's like
everything's
a
going
Doctor
wrong.
Strange cloak. It's just like flapping around. Okay, so yeah, make a. This is an athletics check for you, Lucius.
All
Straight.
right.
This is just athletics.
Oh god, that just hit 1 for a second there. It's a 15.
So initially, when the tide is low, you're like you can't find purchase in like the mud. Your like boots are sinking in, and there's not enough strength. But as the water does begin to lift the raft out of the mud, and it kind of takes off some of that weight of it being stuck and trying to pull it out of the thick, slick mud, with the water taking off the lift, you manage, and it's slow going, but you're like, "Grr," one foot after the other.
Strength.
And like you're having to like you like, and you are completely drenched, by the way, Lucius. Like mud is like splattered all up
There
your
are
chest. Like
Blood
it's,
vessels like bursting
Yeah,
in my
it's-
eyes.
Lucius has never looked dirtier, sweatier, or anything. However,
5 minutes to go.
as the gate
5
kind of
minutes to
conges
go.
on one side, he does manage to pull the raft through the arcane gate. Just maybe some of the edges of the arcane gate are kind of like shaved off by the spell, but it eventually comes out the other side, back into the open swamp, and you will manage to follow through. A very tired
Ayla will
looking
just, like,
Lucius.
Ayla will just pat him on the shoulder and take the raft off of him and put it down. Well done. You did good.
Did it. Okay, now everyone on the raft, we need to make best use of this time before it disappears again, please.
So I'm gonna need. So yeah, you can get back on the raft. I'm gonna need a new pathfinder and a new scout and somebody to push the raft.
Okay.
Stay on the raft.
I'm
You get some
literally like
rest.
-1 in all these skills. -1, -2 in all these
Yeah, you're
skills.
a book nerd.
Someone-
This ain't your field.
Carry me. Carry me.
I am happy to guide the route this time.
Okay.
Who wants to be the lookout? Or I could do that. Either or. I'm apparently
I
amazing
think you're better
at
at
both.
guiding. I think you're better at guiding. At least, yeah. I don't know.
Mhm.
Sentry, do you want to push the boat, or
Lookout?
do you want me to?
I can be a pusher.
I can look out if you want.
There you go. All right.
I'm not that great, but I could try.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So Quill, Quill Pathfinder. So survival check for Quill, perception check
Plus
for Ayla
11.
as the lookout, and then Constitution save
God.
for Sentry.
31 with a natural 20.
Holy crap.
We are there.
Holy crap.
You can't.
We're
success
not
on that
seeing
sort of thing.
anything though, because I rolled a 4, so I got a 10 total.
That's fine. Okay. So Tom, I'd like you to roll a d8 for the positive random events.
Okay.
Well, positive is a strong word. It means that if you encounter anything dangerous, you have advance warning of it. So
7?
Yeah.
7. Interesting. Okay. All right. So for at least 4 hours, the tide stays high. You travel solidly on the raft. The tide doesn't go down. You manage to make some success. Sentry pushing the boat doesn't affect you at all. Don't get tired. Easily happy to like push it with a long sort of pole, kind of steering the boat along. And Quill, you scouting up ahead, you manage to get the crew back on track. You don't regain any time, but you are pretty confident that you're going in the right direction, that you're not getting lost. And up ahead, you begin to see a lot of the trees seem to grow thinner, and you see quite an open space of just water, basically. But you can see, initially you thought that maybe it was like mud piles, or maybe it was sort of like little columns or something. But as the raft gets closer with your keen eyesight, you can see that this large open bit of water is full of bubbles. And they have the consistency, like they have these brown mucousy kind of membranes. And there's hundreds of them from here until this kind of like opening ends. And you're going to have to go through this space. But you've got plenty of warning. You've got time to go and investigate or think of something before the raft is going to encounter them. But yeah, they're like bubbles in the muddy water, basically.
I've got no idea what they are. Hey guys, just ahead of us there is bubbles.
Okay. Do they?
Bubble. I mean, I don't know what that could mean. Maybe there's something under the water. I don't know, but we might.
I mean, it's like hundreds of them, and they're quite large. You know, they're probably the size of a I don't know, a big thing. Sort of
okay.
Beach ball, like big, slightly bigger than a beach ball.
Bouncy space balls.
Space hopper.
Space hopper.
Yeah,
they're about space hopper sized over there.
What?
And there's hundreds of them. Like
What?
it's like a bouncy thing that you sit in.
Do they smell of anything? Is it?
There was a strong smell in that region, Quill. Like with your perception, yeah, there was definitely a strong smell. It smells like old cheese.
Little
Good cheese?
I just said old cheese.
It doesn't smell Gouda.
I don't think that's good.
It doesn't smell Gouda.
Strong.
Are we going to be damned if we go near them?
Hey.
Oh boy. Jesus Christ.
Well, you know what? You know what, Ree? It's better. It's better to be prepared.
Bring you prepared.
But anyway, guys, I think we should mozzarella. No, wait, hang on.
Come on, my Ree one wasn't that bad. It was pretty on point.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't even mean anything.
What the hell?
But either way, what do you guys think? There's bubbles and a smell. I don't know what that means. Is there any kind
Is
of
it
check
a good
this?
smell?
That's
You
just my
could
joke.
make a nature check.
Nature check. Okay, I'll
Can
try.
I-
Yeah, anyone proficient in nature can make a check. If you're not
that
proficient,
me.
Oh,
I
I'm
got
not.
a plus
Okay.
4.
sure.
23.
Yeah, it's more if you're proficient than your bonus. 23 for Nova.
16.
16. I would say Ayla, you've traveled through swamps before, and you would know that things like gases can get trapped under there, sort of like natural gases that emanate from different things. Nova with a 23, the same thing, yeah? Like gases can get trapped in swamps and can form like bubbles, basically. They can create like bubbles from like mucousy material. In the Feywild, you would suspect that these gases are probably not going to be mundane gases. They are probably going to have some sort of magical or unusual nature to them. What it could be, you've no idea. It could be harmless. It could blow up like a fireball spell. It could turn you all into frogs. Who fucking knows?
That could be
Is he
useful.
lifting
for going
drink?
through a swamp. Quill, did the bubble? Did they smell like when you pass wind from your bottom?
I'm gonna gust towards her the smell.
Yeah, you'll get a strong whiff of
Oh.
old cheese.
Oh, that's like that night that Lucius ate gone off cheese. Oh, that's terrible.
What on earth does it mean?
My eyes are burning. My eyes are burning.
I have never passed gas in all my life.
Elves
Not
don't
a
pass
single
gas,
time.
Lucius. That's what Daddy
Elves
told you.
don't pass gas at all.
Oh, that's not what it was like in that tent that night. Oh gosh. So they're probably explosive bubbles. Swamps
Probably?
tend to build up a lot of gas and explode. Definitely with a smell like that. Yes.
Okay.
evil bubbles?
How do we
Evil
ignite?
bubbles.
Possibly, yes. I would say let's not go anywhere near them.
Right.
It's going to be a big detour if you want to go around this kind of field of gas bubbles. It's going to be a big old detour.
There's a lot there.
Volatile.
What do we do to avoid blowing up a swamp?
I have an idea.
Okay.
Like a cone of cold, a whole group of them, freezing them, or popping them from a distance.
Oh yeah, maybe we could pop
And you
them from
could
a
gust
distance. That's a
the-
great idea.
The bad stuff away.
Yeah. Clear a
What are
path.
we popping them with, though?
The cone of cold.
I could Eldritch Blast them. Oh, they're kind of cold.
Got some
Now,
arrows.
Eldritch.
Shoot a few.
Now, does Eldritch Energy explode?
It's fierce.
Because you guys are having a think on what you would like to do, because I wasn't sure if we were going to just go into it. We're going to have to end the episode there because it's like literally nearly 8 o'clock.
Oh.
And I think we've got people
Bubbles.
after us on Yogis. So
Fair
we're
enough.
going to have to pick it up next week, but have a think how you would want to deal with the field of gas bubbles.
Next week, we're going to blow up a swamp.
That's
There
it.
is,
Oh, it's highly
No
flammable.
parsec. There-
Nobody on no parsec tonight, so we can.
Let's just keep going.
Oh.
6
Let's
hour
keep going.
D&D. Let's go.
Here we go.
I mean, dinner would be nice, but
No, yeah, I figured
Sure.
you guys still want to stop. I mean, I could go, but I figured
I'm-
you guys want to stop. So.
I mean, I want to blow up a
it's
swamp.
a good. It's a
I
good
feel
place
like-
to call it before we blow up everyone.
Swamp. Sure.
It's going to be so
Okay.
satisfying when we pop a bubble. I want to pop a bubble.
Well, you've
We
got a
can
whole
do
week.
20 more minutes if you want to pop a bubble, but you got to convince everyone else
It's
that you
fine.
want to stick around
It's
for
fine,
that.
I can wait.
Get some bubble wrap. We'll just
Yes.
tie ourselves over for
An
the week.
entire
Yes.
week of bubble pop prep.
Next week with a very
Oh.
important announcement, right, Mark?
Very
Remember.
important announcement next week. Like, I'm not even being facetious. You definitely want to be here for next week. We've got something very exciting to share, and a very cool thing coming up that we want to share with all of you, and something that you can
Bubbles.
be a part, something you can be
And
a
it's
part
my
of in a
birthday
way
week.
as well.
Yes.
And
How
it's
about-
Kate. Oh my God, it's Katie's birthday weekend. It's a
What a
double
week.
mega weekend.
Yeah.
I thought that was
very,
the
very exciting.
announcement.
No,
No,
would-
Sem
that's
7.
normal
It's
thing.
not
It's my
more
birthday.
Reynard pins.
That's it. They're
We need
sold
to
out.
keep this
They
business
need
going
more.
and not go under, so we need to do
Yeah, we can't ever buy Reynard pins
profitable
ever again.
merch.
We lost so much. Guys, we invested so much in those Reynard pins, you have no idea.
Why were they gold
Yeah.
plated?
Yeah. Yeah, we really shouldn't have made them out of gold.
You say
Yeah.
that I had to buy 300 of them.
Right, with that, we will pick this up next week as you travel through Yonfen. Just to also, because I like being transparent, I don't want people to think that I've come up with this war mode. A lot of this stuff I have taken from the new D&D adventure, Wild Beyond the Witchlight. It was really
Wow.
useful for coming up with cool Feywild stuff.
Cool.
It gave me a lot of cool ideas, including this little swamp to travel through.
That's what they're there for.
Yeah. Still changed up. I've done the classic Mark and changed a lot of things up, but it was a really good source of inspiration. So
It's
if
a
you want more
source
cool
book,
Feywild
Mark.
stuff, yeah, it is. It is there to be used. So
Yeah.
Indeed.
yeah, cool. All right.
Before everyone nips off, don't forget to check out our wonderful sponsor links, especially Terciel and Eleanor, the wonderful book series, the prequel of Garth Nix's...
Prequel to Sabriel. Yes.
Yes.
It is amazing. I really am super excited to read it. I haven't had time yet. But yeah, if I really love the way they do like necromancy and exorcism in this. It's very, very cool. Very excited to read it. And the cover art's awesome as well.
very
These
cool.
two
It is.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So
Characters.
cool.
Gorgeous.
I was going
Nice.
to make a judging a book by a cover joke earlier, but
And yes, D&D Beyond, of course. If you haven't checked them out already, where are you living? Have you just caught us live for the first time? D&D Beyond is the best way to create characters and manage a campaign for D&D. Please check it out. Thank you. Who's crinkling?
Someone's crinkling.
That's a very good point, Katie.
It's Kim.
We do need to see Angus in a party hat next week for your birthday.
We do.
So.
Oh dear God, Angus is actually going to be in a cone next week for my birthday.
That's like the opposite.
That's kind of, yeah.
He's getting a new shirt on Tuesday,
Oh,
so
no.
I can put him. He's got a tiny donut. I got a picture of him in a tiny donut.
That'll do.
And I can try and put the donut on him again, but I might lose my fingers in the process because he was very unhappy with me doing that.
Oh, look at Mr. Donut Boy.
He didn't like
Them
the
balls are
donut.
going.
Yeah.
Say
Snip,
goodbye
snip.
to the balls.
It's all right, Angus.
Throw
When I
something in the chat.
when I was muted, it really wasn't that bad.
What?
Anyway, Tommy H, do you want to read
Hello?
out any messages that have come in? Any donies, subbies, or bitties?
No.
Okay.
No, I will. Okay. We had a donation from Angelus Lucis, and it says, "It's been a while since I watched High Rollers. Last time was the Lightfall campaign. What have I missed, Kappa?"
Kappa.
Not a lot.
They
Oh my
capped it.
god,
It's
a
fine.
lot. Watch the recap.
Watch
Yeah.
the recapper. Skull Splitter 673 has donated with.
Never laugh like that again.
What if Darbane is a good guy trying to reform Siaska like you all? He did build a Titan killer after all. Yeah. Gonna kill him. Varys has donated. With no
Going
message.
to try.
Thank you very much.
Going to try.
And Crispy has donated a Hando.
Oh, Christmas.
No
Thank
message
you.
at all. Thank you very much, Crispy, for your
Thanks, Crispy.
continued generosity. We also had some gift subs from Being Wolfie. I am a robot with 10 gift subs. Thank you. Niracht, Foxhunt81, Crispy 1260 with 10 gift subs. Teflon Live, MK13 Wolf, and Skyrim Witch. Thank you for the gifted subs. And if you got gifted a sub, thank you. Are you shrinking me?
No.
Why do I look different? There we go. We also had some bits from Trumpole, Luna Sonata, Baron von Genki, and Blickymore, and some $11 in bits from No Jeans that says the swamp goes up like, and that's it. Thanks. And $15 dues from MK13 Wolf that says, "So Thomas, I will keep it nice and simple. A young boy asked his cowboy grandfather how he got so old. Well, he answered, you gotta sprinkle a little bit of gunpowder in your morning porridge. Do that and you'll get old, trust me. So the young boy did as advised and religiously did this every morning and sure enough lived to the ripe old age of 94. When he died, he left behind 4 children, 8 grandchildren, 15 great-grandchildren, and a 16-foot hole in the crematorium." No one? Okay. I liked it.
I just like making you really uncomfortable.
Well,
I
apparently.
took such a big chug of water while you were reading that. Back away.
I liked it. Thank you. Fuck me. Yogdonos, we had some from Coil Twitchbot. Thanks. And Ace of Thorns. Never has chopping down trees been so riveting. Hugs and love. And a raid from the Welcome Inn.
Thank you very much.
And Choco Milk Life on Yogs. Thank you very much. And that is it. Question mark?
Dot.
Question mark?
Question.
Dun, dun, dun. Nice.
Wonderful.
Yep, that's it. That's a lot. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you all for
Cheers,
joining
man.
us for another episode of High Rollers. We will be back next week with a super cool announcement and all of that good stuff and Katie's birthday. There'll be all sorts of things coming up soon that I'm sure we'll tell you about. But yeah, that's it for us. Take care. Have a lovely Sunday evening. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.
Peace.
Bye now.